Chapter 22. Blood Pool. Fang Yu's eyebrows twitched. Yes, blood pool. We have a pool that gathers the blood of many beasts and martial artists. As she spoke, Li Shuiying suddenly stopped talking. Fang Yu understood the taboo. The blood of beasts was fine. But the blood of martial artists, this was not allowed. It was against the peace of nature. However, in the underground black market, there were so many prisoners and martial artists who died in battle every day. It was not strange to obtain the blood of half-dead martial artists after processing it. However, this was an unspoken rule and could not be said openly. In short, the blood pool had enough blood of beasts and martial artists. Although it was modeled, the energy was very sufficient. Blood pool? This is one of the foundations of our Li family, the accumulation of blood for many years. The energy is unimaginable. Li Qiuhong shook her head. You did take 3 of my moves. According to the agreement, you can make a request. However, the blood pool is an exception. Simply speaking, it belongs to the entire Li family. I have not taken over the family yet, so I cannot make the decision. However, if you become a guest of the Li family, under the name of the eldest miss, it is not that you cannot enter the blood pool, because a guest has the qualifications to enter the blood pool. Steward Chen suddenly said. A guest of the Li family? I am not even a martial artist. Fang Yu said, amused. Young man, I can see that you have your own ambitions. You came here today for nothing more than to obtain power, right? Some things, with your talent, will eventually be obtained, but not now. You need power now, right? Steward Chen asked with a smile. I think you know who I am? Fang Yu replied unhurriedly. If my information is correct, you should be Fang Yu, Fang Zhao's son. Unfortunately, your mother is of low birth, so you cannot be the legitimate son. Speaking of which, your experience is pure. What medical skills? What martial arts? You should have nothing. However, the Fang you were looking at right now is someone with astonishing talent in martial arts and superb medical skills. Yet, countless pieces of evidence point to you being Fang Yu. Steward Chen said leisurely, but that's not important. Are you willing to become our young lady's consecrator? If you nod your head, you will have a quota for the blood pool. Grandpa Chen, Li Qiuhong was shocked. There was no doubt that she wanted to recruit Fang Yu. However, she wasn't prepared to bet too much on it. She had just started to build her forces and didn't have many people under her command. It wasn't worth it to bet so many resources on Fang Yu. Young mistress, trust me, Steward Chen didn't explain immediately. Instead, he asked Li Qiuhong to calm down. Are there many restrictions on your offerings? I might not stay here forever. Fang Yu pondered for a while and said, That's right, Skylight City was too small. A small piece of land wouldn't be able to keep Fang Yu. Young man, Skylight City isn't big, but it's not small either. If you want to dominate, you have to at least be a martial spirit. Are you a martial spirit? You're not even a martial master. However, I believe in your potential. A position as a consecrator to serve our young mistress. Moreover, I can promise on behalf of our young mistress that one day, when the hidden dragon rises from the abyss, we will let you go. Steward Chen said with a smile. It's a deal. Fang Yu agreed decisively. Take a rest first. We have to make some arrangements for the remaining matters. After Steward Chen finished speaking, he motioned for the 2 beautiful maids to bring Fang Yu away to rest. Grandpa Chen, aren't his conditions too generous? Li Qiuhong couldn't help but ask. It was true that she wanted to build her own power, but her trump cards were limited. She had given a considerable portion of it to Fang Yu in one go. Did she still want to recruit others? Young mistress, you have to believe in my judgment. If this Fang Yu grows up, he will definitely become a great martial master. Furthermore, his medical skills are not shallow. They complement each other and are as useful as a martial spirit. Furthermore, the Tang sect owes him a favor. It's a favor owed to Fong Yu and not to the Fong family. Therefore, this gamble is worth it. Steward Chen made a long story short. If that's the case, then it's worth it. But he's not even a martial master. Isn't it too dangerous for him to enter the blood pool? Although the blood pool contributed a lot to me being able to advance from a 1-star martial master to a 5-star martial master, I'm also aware of the dangers involved. Li Qiuhong asked hesitantly. Steward Chen had also entered the blood pool, and more than once. He should understand the hidden dangers she mentioned. It's nothing more than the violent energy of the blood pool and the attacks of blood fiends. However, this is also good. Young mistress, you were too careless in the fight just now. Furthermore, I didn't expect him to enter a state of enlightenment. There's nothing we can do even if we lose. We can see more from the blood pool. Steward Chen was silent for a while before saying, I remember that after young mistress entered the blood pool, you became a 3-star martial artist in one go and tied with the ancestors' record. I'd like to see how far he can go. Fong Yu didn't have to wait for long before he was brought to a heavily guarded cave. In the deepest part of the cave stood Li Qiuhong, Li Shuiying and her sister, and Steward Chen. Kid, this is the blood pool. The 100 zhang blood pool is 100 zhang wide and 100 zhang deep. The deeper you go, the stronger the energy of the blood pool and the more modeled the energy. I'm not afraid to tell you that back then, we recruited a half-step martial grand master as a consecrator. This person's talent was terrifying, and it was almost certain that he would become a martial grand master. In the end, he was too impatient and used the energy of the blood pool to break through. Instead, his intelligence was corroded and he became a madman. Steward Chen said slowly, The food is here, there's a lot of it. However, how much you can eat depends on your ability. Okay. Without saying anything else, Fong Yu took off his clothes and entered the blood pool. Gurgle gurgle. Just as Fong Yu entered, the blood pool began to boil. Ding. System mission. Obtain the heart of the blood pool. The heart of the blood pool? This is a crystal that can be gathered in the depths of the blood pool. Obtain the heart of the blood pool. Reward. 1 random spiritual martial art learning voucher. Hiss, Fong Yu inhaled a breath of cold air. Random spiritual martial art learning voucher? This was an existence that was above a rank 9 martial art. For example, Fong Yu was currently stuck between a rank 9 martial art and a spiritual martial art. A rank 9 martial art was already sharp enough and was comparable to a powerful divine weapon. If it was a spiritual martial art, it would probably be able to easily defeat someone of the same level. However, the heart of the blood pool should be one of the roots of the blood pool. If I take it away and others find out, Fong Yu's scalp went numb just thinking about the consequences. However, whether he would be discovered in the future and then die, or be beaten to death by the 3rd elder in a few days, Fong Yu knew which choice to make. Chapter 23. As soon as Fong Yu entered the blood pool, he activated the mysterious heaven method to absorb the energy. Blood pool energy, experience +10. Similar notifications kept appearing, causing Fong Yu to frown. The experience is too little, and the heart of the blood pool is at the bottom? It's too slow to level up on the surface. Fong Yu was about to dive into the blood pool when Steward Chen reminded him with a chuckle. Haha, young man, don't bite off more than you can chew. It's not that easy to go deep into the blood pool. Fong Yu was about to ask when he felt something condensing around him. Roar. This was a blood shadow. Its entire body was scarlet red, and it was formed from the water of the blood pool. Fong Yu was shocked. This is a blood fiend. It's an energy body formed by the resentment and spirituality of the blood pool. It doesn't have any consciousness, but it's quite aggressive. You can obtain a lot of energy by killing it. It's much faster than absorbing it directly. When Miss Tang leveled up 3 times in the blood pool, she relied on killing many blood fiends. Steward Chen said with a chuckle. Controlling crane capturing dragon hands. Fang Yu killed the blood fiend that attacked him without hesitation. It's indeed the controlling crane capturing dragon hands, the signature technique of the Tang sect. It seems that Miss Tang has a good impression of this Fang Yu. She even gave him her signature technique. Steward Chen said to Li Qiuhong, who was beside him. Yes, I took the Tang sect into consideration as well. Li Qiuhong nodded. Congratulations to the host for killing a low-level blood fiend. Experience, plus 100. Why is the experience so little? Answer: blood fiends of the same level have a fixed amount of energy. Fang Yu was enlightened. Although the experience did not seem to be much, killing low-level blood fiends was not difficult. It was about killing them with one punch. However, Li Qiuhong leveled up 3 times in a row here. I'm afraid it's not as simple as killing these low-level blood fiends, Fang Yu thought to himself. That's right. He realized that the blood pool had some sort of corrosive effect on the body of a martial artist. As long as he left and recuperated properly, he would be able to recover from the corrosion. However, if it exceeded a certain limit, it would probably be irreversible. As such, even if it was Fang Yu, it was impossible for him to stay in the blood pool forever. Once he reached a certain threshold, he would still have to leave the blood pool, regardless of how much he absorbed. By the way, the next time you enter the blood pool, the effect will be greatly reduced, so this opportunity is very important. I also know that you, Fang Yu, are in urgent need of power, so do your best. Steward Chen reminded him with a smile. Seeing this, Fang Yu didn't have time to reply. Instead, he charged towards the blood fiends that were attacking him. Congratulations to the host for killing a beginner blood fiend. Experience, plus 100. Congratulations to the host for killing a beginner blood fiend. Experience, plus 100. Congratulations to the host for killing a beginner blood fiend. Experience, plus 100. Fang Yu killed several low-grade blood fiends in one breath. This won't do. The rate at which the blood fiends are gathering is getting faster and faster. If this goes on, I'll be entangled and won't be able to explore the heart of the blood pool. Moreover, this speed is still not fast enough. Fang Yu made up his mind. After killing another beginner blood fiend, he dived into the blood pool. Plop! Seeing Fang Yu dive straight in, Steward Chen was stunned. Good lad. Good spirit. But it's not a good thing to be greedy and advance prematurely. He has many grudges with the higher-ups of the Fang family. According to the investigation of the secret guards we sent out, Fang Han's disappearance is definitely related to Fang Yu. There's a high possibility that he's dead. If the third elder of the Fang family really wants to kill him, what should we do? Li Qiuhong asked worriedly. Since Peerless Peak had given Fang Yu a position as a high priest, of course they had to find out the ins and outs of their people. However, according to the results of their investigation, things weren't looking good. Fang Yu was in big trouble now. If they directly helped Fang Yu, they would become enemies with the Fang family. They weren't afraid of the Fang family, but doing so would violate the rules of the underground black market. Furthermore, Li Qiuhong hadn't completely taken control of the underground black market yet. That's why I asked him to come to the blood pool now. He's a member of the Fang family, and he even helped the young lady of the Tang family. If something really happens before the Tang family rewards them, they won't dare to do anything to Fang Yu. Fang Yu is an ambitious person. He doesn't dare to touch the interests of the underground black market, but he wants to dominate Skylight City on the surface. All in all, Fang Yu still has to rely on himself for this. Steward Chen pondered for a moment and said, I've met countless people in my life, and Fang Yu gives me a very strange feeling. It's a little like what? Li Qiuhong asked when she saw Steward Chen hesitating. just like when he met the martial spirit patriarch. It's really strange. Steward Chen muttered to himself. Martial spirit patriarch? Grandpa Chen, you're exaggerating. Li Qiuhong exclaimed in shock. The martial spirit patriarch was a rare talent in this area. Although Fang Yu had great potential, when they discussed him, their evaluation was that he had reached the level of a martial master, and with his superb medical skills, his achievements and status would not be inferior to a martial spirit. They had never thought that Fang Yu could also become a martial spirit. I hope so. However, if it's true, let's not talk about worshipping him. He can even become our son-in-law. Steward Chen said meaningfully. Grandpa Chen, don't talk nonsense or I'll get angry. Li Qiuhong was stunned and said angrily. Steward Chen smiled but didn't say anything. He had watched Li Qiuhong and Li Shuiying grow up. Li Qiuhong had a strong personality and never liked men who were weaker than her. Although she had given in to Fang Yu today, Fang Yu wasn't even a martial master. Considering this point, Fang Yu was indeed qualified to enter Li Qiuhong's eyes. Fang Yu naturally didn't know what was happening above. Now he was in big trouble. Blood pool energy, experience plus 50. After Fang Yu dove down a few hundred feet, the energy in his body had become stronger, but the blood fiends had also become mid-level. More importantly, the experience gained from killing mid-level blood fiends was twice that of killing low-level blood fiends, but his combat power had more than doubled. No, if this continues, I won't be able to reach the bottom before reaching the critical point. Fang Yu was burning with anxiety. However, mid-level blood fiends were extremely difficult to deal with. Every one of them was at the level of a 5-star or 6-star martial artist. Although they didn't have intelligence, their speed of forming blood fiends was several times faster than low-level blood fiends, and it was getting faster and faster. No wonder the heart of the blood pool hasn't been taken by anyone. Under normal circumstances, even a martial master would be exhausted to death. Fang Yu frowned. Suddenly, Fang Yu felt a heat at his waist. It was the dragon teeth dagger that he had brought down with him. Chapter 24. Buzz. When the light of the dragon teeth blade reached a certain level, there was a buzzing sound. Then, the dragon teeth blade swallowed the blood fiends one by one, giving the blade a faint bloody glow. This, Fang Yu did not expect the dragon teeth blade to show its power at such a crucial moment. But why did it absorb the blood fiends? Its aura has become stronger. Otherworldly elite weapons are indeed magical. Fang Yu clicked his tongue in wonder but did not delve into it. The so-called otherworldly wondrous troops were all about the word wondrous. One could never guess its limits and mysteries. If it could be easily seen through, it would not be called an otherworldly elite weapon. It has solved a big problem for me. Fang Yu continued to dive. Outside the blood pool, Steward Chen's expression changed slightly. What's wrong? Li Qiuhong asked. He's continuing to dive, Steward Chen said slowly. Continuing to dive? How far has he dived? Li Qiuhong's expression changed. She remembered that her limit last time was 500 feet, which was only half the depth of the blood pool. It was too difficult to continue diving. Perhaps he would reach the critical point in an instant. At that time, he would not be able to fly up and would be finished. He's past 500 feet. He's about 700 feet now. Steward Chen's voice was trembling. He was the one who advocated betting on Fang Yu. If Fang Yu died in the blood pool, they would have wasted their time. Fang Yu continued to dive. However, Fang Yu had no way to kill the blood fiends. Could he say that the dragon teeth blades swallowed the blood fiends as soon as they came out? Although Fang Yu was helpless, it saved him a lot of trouble. To be honest, with Fang Yu's strength, he was no match for the high-level blood fiends that were born after 700 feet. These blood fiends were almost at the level of martial masters. They were not at the level of 1 or 2 stars, but 3 or 4 stars. With such strength, even Li Qiuhong would die if they attacked together, let alone Fang Yu. Therefore, the dragon-teeth dagger was of great help. However, I have also crossed the boundary between martial artist and martial master. I am now a 2-star martial master. Fang Yu felt the changes in his body and was overjoyed. That's right, he couldn't kill the blood fiends to increase his experience points. However, the mysterious heaven method was constantly circulating, and he was still able to absorb a lot of the blood pool's energy. From an 8-star martial artist to a 2-star martial master, it might seem like a 3-level increase, but in reality, that was not the case. Since ancient times, when martial artists wanted to break through, the difficulty would increase. For example, the cultivation speed would suddenly slow down, and so on. As a result, many martial artists were prepared to break through to martial master in one go before they broke through to the next realm. If this mouthful was not enough, he might even become a 9-star martial artist. However, the energy in the blood pool was too boundless. Even if Fang Yu kept absorbing it, it was still endless. It truly is worthy of being called one of the foundations of the Li family. I'm afraid that in addition to the massive amount of blood energy invested into this blood pool, there is also a powerful array formation that locks in the spiritual energy so that it can better fuse with martial artists. Although this method consumes a lot of energy, after many years, it can create many martial masters. No wonder there are so many martial masters in the underground black market. The 3 big families really can't compare. Fang Yu was speechless. However, the underground black market was not as stable as he had imagined. Where there were people, there would be underworld. Although the Li family was the founder of the underground black market, and they had a martial spirit ancestor, the underground black market was huge now. It was not the same as before, and the relationships and power were tangled and complicated. Even Li Qiuhong, who was the rightful heir of the Li family, had to take it step by step if she wanted to succeed. In other words, she couldn't be too hasty. If Fang Yu hadn't agreed to be a consecrator of the Li family and be temporarily used by Li Qiuhong, he probably wouldn't have been able to touch such an important place like the blood pool. We'll reach the bottom soon. The heart of the blood pool is at the bottom. Fang Yu was also curious as to what exactly the heart of the blood pool was. After all, if the super slaughter system had specified that he needed to find something, it shouldn't be too simple. We're here. Fang Yu dived another 100 feet and finally reached the bottom of the blood pool. There was a fist-sized object here, shining brightly. Even so, its aura was restrained like a quietly beating heart. If it wasn't for the super slaughter system's notification, Fang Yu wouldn't have discovered that there was such an item here. How do I collect it? Fang Yu racked his brains on how to bring this heart of the blood pool away. Such a treasure was definitely not simple. If it was discovered by someone, Fang Yu would definitely not be able to take it away. Don't tell me I have to make a wedding dress for someone else? Fang Yu's heart was filled with all kinds of feelings. He wasn't such a generous person. Ding. Successfully collected the heart of the blood pool. Ding. Host has completed the mission. You have received a random spiritual martial arts learning voucher. Everything happened so quickly and so quickly. Before Fang Yu could react, the heart of the blood pool had already disappeared without a trace. However, Fang Yu heaved a sigh of relief and put down the stone in his heart. Even though the item had been taken away by the super slaughter system, wasn't the super slaughter system and Fang Yu one body? Even though he didn't know when it would come to him, the item was not lost. It was still his, Fang Yu's. It's about time to go up. The dragon teeth dagger doesn't seem to be absorbing the blood fiends anymore? Fang Yu realized that after the dragon teeth dagger had a bloody glow, the absorption of the blood fiends had slowed down a lot. It was like a person drinking soup after a full meal. After drinking it, he would be full and finished eating. I wonder what the dragon teeth dagger looks like now. Fang Yu was eager to try. This dragon teeth dagger came from the super slaughter system. It was mysterious and had many mysteries that Fang Yu couldn't understand. For example, the sealed dragon voice, absorbing blood fiends to strengthen the body, etc. Fang Yu didn't know how profound the dragon teeth dagger was. The dragon teeth dagger stopped absorbing the blood fiends. They started to bare their fangs and brandish their claws. Even though they didn't have intelligence, they still had the instinct to attack. They wanted to tear Fang Yu apart. Pung! Fang Yu swung his dagger and a high-level blood fiend turned into ashes. Congratulations to the host for killing a high-level blood fiend. Experience plus 1,000. 1,000 experience. Fang Yu's eyelids twitched. He wasn't a martial artist anymore. He was a martial master. A 2-star martial master. The host's current experience is 210,003,0000. Looking at this number, Fang Yu understood why people often said that at the end of the path of martial arts, 1 star was the difference between heaven and earth. 1 level was the difference of a martial artist. If one wasn't a genius or wealthy person, it would be extremely difficult for them to bridge the gap between the two of them. Furthermore, Fang Yu's experiment showed that the dragon teeth dagger didn't continue absorbing the blood fiends. However, it was as if the dragon teeth dagger was a natural counter to the blood fiends. The powerful blood fiends were as easy as chopping vegetables in front of Fang Yu, who wielded the dragon teeth dagger. Fang Yu wouldn't let go of this great opportunity to increase his level. He killed all the way to the surface. Chapter 25. Fang Yu is coming out, Steward Chen, who had been staring at the blood pool, said. He actually dived so deep and even came out alive. Li Qiuhong's eyelids twitched. This kid is too fierce. Previously, she did not dare to dive down 500 feet. Other than the ferocious blood fiends, her body could not bear the burden of the blood pool. She was also worried that if she really went down, she would not be able to come back up. In the end, Fang Yu was indeed a fierce person. It was as if he could go anywhere. He went down and came back when he wanted. Bang! Fang Yu rushed out of the water and landed steadily with the dragon teeth dagger. Fang Yu, you are a 4-star martial master. Li Qiuhong was so shocked that her eyes almost popped out. Wasn't that right? Before Fang Yu went down, he was still a martial artist. Although he was close to becoming a martial master, there was still an obvious gap. Now, after a round trip, he was a 4-star martial master at most half an hour. If Li Qiuhong was a cultivation genius, then what was Fang Yu? A monster? There were some adventures down there. Some of the blood energy seemed to be very close to me. It was very easy to merge them. Fang Yu said in a serious tone. This was not nonsense. In the Wanling continent, there were thousands of spirits and 3,000 great Daos. If one was naturally close to a certain kind of energy, for example, if the blood energy in one's body was strong, in a place filled with flames, it would be twice the result with half the effort. Therefore, even if they felt that there was a loophole in Fang Yu's story, they could not verify it and could not say anything. No matter what, Fang Yu was now in the same boat as them. With such a potential helper, even if Fang Yu had some secrets, as long as it did not affect their core interests, they could turn a blind eye. By the way, the two of you, I have a request, Fang Yu suddenly asked seriously. Has it been confirmed? The third elder of the Fang family stood with his hands behind his back facing the messenger. It has been confirmed. The place where young Master Fang Han died was the mass grave. According to the various traces, young Master Fang Han went to the mass grave to destroy the evidence. In the end, he never returned, and Fang Yu, whose body had been thrown into the mass grave, appeared in the main hall of the Fong family in less than 2 hours. The third elder's eyes grew colder and colder as he listened to the scout's report. His son was really dead. According to the evidence, the one who killed his son was Fong Yu, the bastard. All right. Just send someone to hand over your heaven's secret sex bill to me. The third elder took a deep breath and said, That's right, he couldn't wait that long. He directly sent someone to invite the spies of the Heaven's Secret sect to take action. The Heaven's Secret Tower was a mysterious and enormous organization. No one knew where their headquarters were. He only knew that wherever there were people in the myriad spirit continent, there would be business for the Heaven's Secret Tower. The Tianji sect was all-pervasive. They claimed to be able to find out all secret. As long as one could afford the price, even a martial emperor could investigate. However, the price was sky-high. Not many people in the world could afford it. Now, the people of the Heaven's Secret sect gave a reply in less than half a day. Fong Han was already dead. There was a 90% chance that the one who killed Fong Han was Fong Yu. Although it wasn't clear how Fong Yu did it, there was no doubt that Fong Han was killed. Similarly, the third elder didn't dare to cheat the Heaven's Secret sect for spending a huge sum of money to invite the people of the Heaven's Secret sect to take action. Even the elders of the Fong family were the same. This was because there weren't many martial grandmasters in Skylight City, and it wasn't just these few from the 3 big families. The Heaven's Secret sect also had martial grandmasters, and it seemed like there was more than one. However, they usually just stayed in the area and wouldn't take action unless there were special circumstances. For example, if the third elder wanted to use his power to suppress others and forcefully renege on the debt, the martial grandmasters of the Heaven's Secret sect would probably come knocking on his door. The scout retreated silently. Fong Yu, I don't want you to live to see tomorrow. After the scout retreated, the third elder's veins bulged as he gritted his teeth and said, Fong Han was his son after much difficulty. Even if he was in the wrong, it wasn't Fong Yu's turn to kill him. Now that Fong Han was dead, even if the Heavenly King came, Fong Yu would be buried with Fong Han. Fong Yu, I know that you've been a little nervous recently, but you don't have to go to this extent, right? After passing the item to Fong Yu, Li Qiuhong asked hesitantly. This item could be said to kill 1,000 enemies at the cost of 800 of his own men. Whether it was worth it or not, it was hard to say. There might even be repercussions that would greatly affect his future cultivation. Of course I know this, but I'm exchanging for it first just to save my life. If it's safe, I'll take it one step at a time. If there's really anyone who doesn't know their place, I'll send them to a family reunion. After all, a family should be neat and tidy. Fong Yu chuckled, his white teeth making Li Qiuhong's heart palpitate. This was because Fong Yu knew very well that Steward Chen and the others could find out about his specific situation in such a short period of time. This meant that as long as they had enough intelligence, it would not be strange for them to find out that Fong Han had been killed by him. Then Fong Yu would not have the time to wait for 3 to 7 days. If the third elder came to find him during this period of time, wouldn't he be waiting for death? Fong Yu, would never wait for death. If you hadn't passed our experiment and raised your black market account to the level of a black diamond, we wouldn't have been able to give you this item on credit. Li Qiuhong went back to the main topic. The item that Fong Yu wanted was very rare. Even if it appeared, the underground black market would buy it in advance, and only a very small amount would be let out of the market. Therefore, if it wasn't for Fong Yu's shocking potential, Li Qiuhong would definitely not have let Fong Yu buy it on credit. She might not even have revealed the existence of this item. Fong Yu, will remember this favor. I thought that 100,000 spirit stones was a lot, but I didn't expect it to be so easy to spend. Fong Yu sighed. Although the black diamond account in the underground black market could be supplemented with spirit stones, it could only be supplemented with 100,000 spirit stones per transaction. The limit for a year was 1,000,000 spirit stones. The item that he wanted could easily cost a few 100,000 spirit stones. It was priceless and could not be bought even if one had the money. Therefore, he was really lucky this time. Yes, I want to ask, Miss Li, do you know anything about spiritual martial arts? Fang Yu asked unexpectedly. Spiritual martial arts? Hearing this, Li Qiuhong and Steward Chen were stunned. Spiritual martial arts, this kind of thing was not common. Even some sects could use it as their most precious treasure. However, since Li Qiuhong had already let Fang Yu buy it on credit, she did not mind telling him this secret. You don't have to be so formal, just call me Qiuhong. As for spiritual martial arts, I have learned one. It was a fist technique that my ancestor had obtained by chance. My slaughtering wolf fist and 100 beast king fist are the branches of this fist technique. Super slaughter system. Use spiritual martial arts random voucher on Li Qiuhong. Fang Yu said without hesitation. Ding. Spiritual martial arts random voucher used successfully. Ding. Learning successful. Spiritual martial arts. 10,000 beast king fist. Chapter 26. Myriad Beasts Emperor Fist. Fang Yu's eyes lit up. No wonder it was a spiritual martial art. Even its name was so majestic. Spiritual martial art. 10,000 Beasts Emperor Fist. This martial art is a fusion of 10,000 beasts. Once the fist technique is used, 10,000 beasts will be intimidated, and dragons and phoenixes will retreat. When he saw this, Fang Yu's eyebrows twitched. All beasts were intimidated, and the dragons and phoenixes were forced to retreat. What a bold claim! If he was not mistaken, true dragons and heavenly phoenixes were real living beings. They couldn't be simply called demonic beasts. They were ancestors, true divine beasts. An adult divine beast is comparable to a martial emperor. However, the body of a divine beast is most likely stronger than that of a martial emperor. Fang Yu couldn't help but yearn for it. If he became a martial emperor, he would be qualified to leave the Myriad Spirit Continent, right? Fang Yu was not a native of the Myriad Spirit Continent, but he also lived in the great wide world. He, Fang Yu, would take revenge for the hatred of the past. Becoming a martial emperor was the first step to revenge. After that, Fang Yu fell into deep thought as he sensed the profoundness of the Myriad Beasts Emperor Fist. The spiritual martial arts lies in the word spirit. If I can successfully execute the Myriad Beast Emperor Fist, I'll probably be able to draw upon the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and condense the myriad beast spirits. Fang Yu thought to himself. Comparatively speaking, although Li Qiuhong had obtained the Myriad Beast Emperor Fist, it was absolutely impossible for her to use it by herself. She could only use some spirit pills to temporarily strengthen herself to use the spirit martial arts. Some people said that before reaching the martial grandmaster realm, the spiritual martial arts were enough to drain all the energy in one's body. It was already a problem whether or not they could maintain their activities, let alone defeat the enemy. Wasn't that just a joke? However, Li Qiuhong was very talented in martial arts. Moreover, before she started cultivating the 10,000 Beasts Emperor Fist, she had gradually cultivated the slaughtering breaking wolf fist and the 100 beasts king fist. She had even created a modification of the slaughtering breaking wolf fist. Although it was only a small modification, the meaning was different. From this, it could be seen that her talent in martial arts was terrifying. Fortunately, she learned it. Otherwise, I would have to return empty-handed today. Fang Yu was in dire need of power. One had to know that he had borrowed a powerful weapon from them today. At a critical moment, it was a killing weapon that could decide life and death. After Fang Yu asked Li Qiuhong if she knew anything about spirit martial arts, he sometimes pondered and sometimes laughed. The master and servant looked at each other, but they did not ask. As a martial arts genius, he was definitely different from ordinary people. It was normal for him to be a little abnormal. When Fang Yu left the black market, he took a different path. There were so many routes in the underground black market that it practically connected the entire Skylight City. It was too easy to send someone away secretly. Therefore, Fang Yu couldn't help but sigh. Like this, how could the three great clans fight against the underground black market? If it wasn't for the fact that the underground black market had gathered a lot of underground forces during its expansion, he wouldn't have been willing to be a local tyrant. When Fang Yu swaggered back to the Fang family, several servants of the third elder were still waiting for him near the entrance. Fang Yu had just entered the door when he sensed that something was wrong. Someone had been in his room. But they've already left, as he muttered to himself. Fang Yu walked into his room and saw a letter left on the table. Fang Yu opened it without hesitation. He obviously knew that the other party had come and left because they knew that staying in the Fang family was not a good choice. The Tang Sect's gratitude had not arrived yet. If he killed Fang Yu now, Tang Wu and the others would probably not let the Fang family off so easily. Therefore, Fang Yu had to be the living Fang Yu. This was what most of the Fang family members thought. I'd like to see what tricks you have, Fang Yu had just finished speaking when his eyes suddenly narrowed. There was a sentence written on the paper that Fang Yu was very concerned about. If you want to know Fang Yi's secret, come to the mass grave outside the city at midnight today. After reading it, Fang Yu was stunned. Fang Yi's secret? What other secrets did his mother have that no one knew? There should be. Otherwise, why would the super slaughter system ask me to investigate? If I go, I should be able to get some answers, Fang Yu muttered to himself. Of course, it was also possible that the other party had deliberately set up a trap to lure Fang Yu out. I have to go this time, Fang Yu sighed. The super slaughter system had given him a mission to investigate Fang Yi's death. If he could get an answer here, wouldn't he have completed the mission? Midnight. The third elder stood in the mass grave, facing the wind. Han must have died here. The third elder glanced around and muttered to himself. That's right. He died here. Suddenly, someone spoke. Fang Yu, you really came? The third elder turned around. The person who came was Fang Yu with a knife at his waist. However, it was useless. Today, Fang Yu had come. The third elder would definitely kill him. No matter who came, it would be useless. Moreover, the third elder was confident that Fang Yu wouldn't tell Fang Zhao about this. Fang Yu hated Fang Zhao, but Fang Zhao also didn't put this mother and son in his eyes. They hated each other. Since you're here, why not? I don't mind telling you, Fang Han is dead. He wanted to kill me here, but I killed him instead. Fang Yu said casually, which made the third elder frown. You're trying to provoke me, it's useless. I was already furious before I came. Now I can calmly send you on your way. The third elder said indifferently, if you want to use these methods on me, you're too inexperienced, Fang Yu. However, since you're here, I'll tell you Fang Yi's secret. Anyway, you're going to die. When you came, you took the initiative to admit that you killed Han Er. Whether it was because he wasn't strong enough or not, it saved me the effort to make you confess, the third elder said slowly. Fang Yu pursed his lips. He came here today to fight to the death with the third elder. Why would he be afraid to admit that he killed Fang Han? On the contrary, the third elder didn't fall for his trick and even wanted to reveal Fang Yi's secret. This was exactly the same as Fang Yu's method. He wanted to shake Fang Yu's mind. It was impossible for Fang Yu to not care about Fang Yi's secret. This was evident from the fact that Fang Yu had brought Fang Yi's spirit tablet with him when he returned. The third elder was a cautious person. In addition, Fang Yu killed Fang Han. Even a lion would have to go all out to catch a rabbit. Fang Yi might not necessarily be dead. The third elder said slowly. My mother might not necessarily be dead? Fang Yu's eyes widened. What did this mean? If Fang Yi wasn't dead, how could she be buried with a memorial tablet? Yes, Fang Yi was a very strange person. She was pretty and smart. Although the patriarch's talent was obvious to all, many people, including me, didn't believe that she would take the initiative to give herself to the patriarch. When he said this, the third elder's expression was a little dazed. Chapter 27. Fang Yu did not say a word. To be honest, apart from the fact that she was a mother, his impression of Fang Yi was that she was aloof from the world. She was not a match for any ordinary man, even if she came from a humble background. Come to think of it, the number of men in the Fang family who were smitten by her was not small. However, in the end, she became pregnant with you and gave birth to you. After that, she was sent on her way, third elder continued. Sent on her way? She didn't die of illness? Fang Yu's anger rose. Died of illness? Such an ethereal woman, saying that she was severely injured during childbirth and died, only a young man like you would believe that. After all, she had the flesh and blood of the family head. We can despise her, but the Fang family can't afford to lose face like this. It's just shocking that the Tao family can reach so far. Third elder chuckled. The Tao family, Fang Yu muttered to himself. This was a family that was second only to the Fang family, and could be called the fourth family in Skylight City. However, the Tao family's strength was still a distance away from the three big families, and they could not compete with them. However, there were rumors that the Tao family had some connections with the underground black market, and were not as clean as they seemed. The fiancée of the family head was the second daughter of the Tao family. She is now married to a powerful man in the black market. Third elder saw that Fang Yu seemed to understand and said with a smile. I see. Fang Yu suddenly understood. The Tao family's connections with the black market must have extended this way. Perhaps the Tao family already had the intention to work with the black market back then. They actually secretly planted someone in our Fang family. The Tao family is not unrelated to your mother's injuries. As for her death, it was the work of the Tao family's men of sacrifice. Third elder revealed a huge secret, and Fang Yu's veins popped. The Tao family. Fang Yu was filled with murderous intent. However, this can't be considered Fang Yi's secret. I said before that Fang Yi might not be dead. Third elder struck while the iron was hot. What are you trying to say? Fang Yu frowned. In the end, Fang Yi said that she died of illness. In fact, we saw it at that time. She was poisoned to death. Moreover, the other party was very vicious. This was a kind of poison that would be released along with the decay of the corpse. If it was just a burial, it might cause a disaster. Patriarch made the decision to cremate her. Third elder said mysteriously. In the end, when the ashes were collected, there was not a single bone. So I said that Fang Yi might not necessarily be dead. This, Fang Yu was stunned. At that time, Fang Yu was still young. His mother had died of illness, and he had cried his heart out. How could he remember anything about cremation and burial? He only knew that his mother, Fang Yi, was gone and had become a spirit tablet. Now that the third elder had revealed the secret, he would be lying if he said he wasn't shocked. Ding. Mission completed. Investigate Fang Yi's death. Ding. Mission reward. 30 slaughter points. 30 slaughter points. The Super Slaughter System's notification brought Fang Yu back to reality. At the same time, the third elder smiled slyly and took the opportunity to attack. So fast. Fang Yu was shocked and retreated, because the third elder's speed was too fast. It was so fast that he almost couldn't withstand it. The third elder was startled. Actually, he had already said everything he knew about Fang Yi's secret. Because of this, he had already killed Fang Yi after he finished speaking. It was time for Fang Yu to go on his way. However, Fang Yu's strength was not as weak as he had imagined. He was not even a martial artist. This was beyond his expectations. Fang Yu, you are a martial master. The third elder's tiger body trembled. Martial master. Fang Yu was still a martial artist a few days ago. If one didn't become a martial artist, he wouldn't have any martial arts aura. He couldn't be considered a true cultivator. Now, in just a few days, Fang Yu had become a martial master. How could the third elder not be surprised? Haha, good, good, good. This is great. Martial master, what a great martial master. I didn't expect you, Fang Yu, to be a peerless genius. After the third elder laughed, he revealed an ominous glint. If I don't make you stay today, Fang Yu, I'm afraid you will become a great threat to me in the future. That will depend on whether you have the ability to make me stay. Fang Yu's aura rose sharply. The fluctuation of a 4-star martial master filled the entire area. 4-star martial master. I have cultivated my whole life and am only a 9-star martial master. Although I am a half-step martial grandmaster, who knows how long this half-step will take and how far it will take? The third elder sighed. Fang Yu was silent. Cultivation was like sailing against the current. If you don't advance, you will fall behind. The third elder was still not a martial grand master. He could only say that his talent was so. Even if he relied on the accumulation of time to break through this shackle, who knew when it would take him? Xiao. Suddenly, Fang Yu drew his saber and attacked. Good saber. Fang Yu, not only did you cultivate well, you also have a divine weapon. If you were given 10 days to half a month, it would be hard to say who would be the one to kill who. The third elder said with a heavy tone. Fang Yu smiled. Third elder, you might not be able to kill me today. Fang Yu, you must have had a fortuitous encounter. Indeed, a young genius with a fortuitous encounter is like a main character in a story. Unfortunately, reality is cruel. Although half-step martial grandmaster is an empty title, this empty title makes it easy to kill. After saying this, the third elder's entire body burst out with a martial Dao aura. A red aura. The third elder's aura was an offensive aura. Fang Yu's expression did not change. Although the third elder, whose cultivation was higher than his, had an offensive aura, which was not good news in his opinion, it was better than a blue or green aura. When fighting, I am not afraid of the opponent's strength. I am only afraid of not being able to kill the opponent. Fang Yu's eyes flashed. If he could kill the opponent, it meant that he could kill the opponent. Square sky finger art. The third elder used a martial art without hesitation. This was a rank 7 martial art. Although it was not the strongest martial art he knew, it was the one he was most familiar with. This finger technique was separated from a spiritual martial art. It was boundlessly profound and had numerous transformations. Moreover, it was the same as the legendary heavenly halberd. It emphasized speed and power. Being hit by a finger art was no different from being hit by a halberd. Fang Yu pulled out his saber to meet the attack. However, the third elder was too experienced. He was like a poisonous snake that had its eyes on its prey. He closed in step by step, but he was not in a hurry to eat Fang Yu. He only wanted to get some benefits from Fang Yu from time to time. Pooh! 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 Under the third elder's relentless attacks, Fang Yu was wounded quite a bit. Blood was flowing out. At the same time, the third elder realized that Fang Yu's steps and aura were not as steady as before. It seems that it is time for a battle to the death. Fang Yu took a deep breath as he thought to himself. Chapter 28. In this battle, Fang Yu had never thought of holding back. Against a half-step martial grand master like the third elder, no matter how confident he was, the difference in strength was still there. If he held back, he would only die faster. Unfortunately, the third elder was as cunning as a poisonous snake. He did not become arrogant just because Fang Yu had used all his strength. He paced back and forth with Fang Yu unhurriedly, like a cat staring at a mouse. This was not a good feeling. A lion needs to use all its strength to catch a rabbit. Fang Yu, how do you think I got my position as an elder? The third elder asked with a smile. Of course it's because there's no one else in the Fang clan. That's why I let someone like you get the position. Fang Yu's answer was completely out of the ordinary. You, what a sharp-tongued brat. Your character is completely different from the patriarch and Fang Yi. The third elder was so angry that he laughed. Fang Yu's mind was spinning. In fact, it was within his expectations that things would turn out this way. The third elder really wasn't an easy person to deal with. Although he was so angry that he wanted to kill Chu Yang, he wasn't willing to reveal any flaws. Unless Chu Yang was killed, the third elder's nerves would probably remain tense. There's no other way. Fang Yu took out an item without hesitation and swallowed it. The moment Fang Yu swallowed the item, the third elder immediately felt the pressure. What kind of pill is this? The third elder's expression changed. Fang Yu's aura had actually climbed from a 4-star martial master to the peak of a martial master. He was only one step away from a martial grand master. Why? Fang Yu was stunned. The pill he had swallowed was called the Spirit Breakthrough Pill. This pill stimulated the body's potential by burning the blood and qi to forcefully increase one's cultivation. It could instantly reach the martial grand master realm. Although it was only a temporary increase, the price was huge. In the next 3 months, it was impossible to increase one's cultivation by absorbing the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. Fang Yu had spent a lot of money and owed a lot of favors to obtain the Spirit Breakthrough Pill from Li Qiuhong. However, it was no longer effective. He had not even reached the martial grand master realm. What was going on? Soon, Fang Yu realized what was wrong. Part of the medicinal power in his body had been absorbed by the dragon teeth dagger through his limbs and bones. If the dragon teeth dagger had been like a piece of art before, then after being soaked in the blood pool, Fang Yu felt that the dragon teeth dagger was like a spiritual object of heaven and earth. But now, after continuously swallowing Fang Yu's medicinal strength, it felt as if it was breathing and was about to come back to life. Is this saber a living thing? Fang Yu didn't know what to say. Oh. Fang Yu, you actually have such a miraculous elixir. Seeing Fang Yu's aura rise, the third elder was equally shocked. Just as he had said before, Fang Yu's cultivation was very fast and he also had the dragon teeth dagger, which was an extremely extraordinary divine weapon. The only things he was stronger than Fang Yu in were experience and level. However, as Fang Yu had reached the peak of martial grand master, the third elder no longer had the advantage of cultivation level. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid of Fang Yu. Third elder, die for me. Without saying a word, Fang Yu raised his saber and charged at the third elder. He was very clear about the aftereffects of the Spirit Breakthrough Pill. Also, it didn't matter if the energy was absorbed by the dragon teeth dagger. The aftereffects would follow after 10 minutes. When that time came, Fang Yu would be dead for sure. Therefore, he had to kill the third elder within 10 minutes. Otherwise, Fang Yu would be in big trouble. What a divine weapon! The third elder was forced to retreat by the dragon teeth dagger. It wasn't that he didn't take out his spiritual weapon to fight, but in front of the dragon teeth dagger, an ordinary spiritual weapon couldn't withstand a single blow and broke in an instant. Fang Yu became more and more courageous. The third elder, who had the upper hand, suddenly fell into a predicament. However, what made Fang Yu feel strange was that even at this stage, the third elder still didn't show any signs of fear, even if he was in a disadvantageous position. Could it be that the third elder still has some tricks up his sleeve? Fang Yu's heart skipped a beat. Fang Yu, you're very powerful. No wonder Han died in your hands. The third elder suddenly said, If I hadn't been an elder for so many years and had some trump cards in my hands, it would be hard to say who would have died today. After saying that, the third elder flipped his palm and took out a pill that Fang Yu was familiar with. Spirit Breakthrough Pill. Fang Yu was shocked. The third elder actually had a spirit breakthrough pill. No, that's not right. Fang Yu quickly reacted. His spirit breakthrough pill isn't a complete spirit breakthrough pill. The color and aroma are a lot worse. That's right, this spirit breakthrough pill of mine is a defective product, but its price is still not low. I only found it by chance. Although this item is good, to the current me, it's a stumbling block for me to become a martial grand master. My many years of savings might be wasted because of this item, the third elder muttered to himself. The spirit breakthrough pill was extremely harmful to a martial master. When it came to cultivation, especially when it came to breaking through to the next realm, as long as one had a certain amount of talent and spent a lot of time, one might be able to accumulate enough inspiration to break through to the martial grand master realm in one go. However, the spirit breakthrough pill would waste all the savings that the third elder had accumulated over the years in one go. If the third elder was 20 years old, no, 10 years younger, he might have the chance to break through to the martial grand master realm. However, with his current age, once he staked everything on a single throw, he probably wouldn't have the chance. Moreover, this spirit breakthrough pill of his was only a defective product. Fang Yu, oh Fang Yu, I really underestimated you. I thought that I already had a very high opinion of you and had made thorough preparations. In the end, you still gave me such a big surprise. If I didn't have this item today, there would be a high chance that I would be killed by you here. The third elder smiled calmly and swallowed the spirit breakthrough pill. Rumble. At the same time, the third elder's martial aura and cultivation aura suddenly became boundless. 1-star martial grand master. Damn it! When Fang Yu realized that the situation was not good, the third elder had already closed in. Even if he retaliated with the dragon teeth saber, it would still be futile if he couldn't cut the third elder. Bang! 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 The third elder's square sky finger art left 3 bloody holes of varying depths on Fang Yu's shoulder, lower abdomen, and thigh. Hiss! Fang Yu was in pain. The gap between a peak martial master and a martial grand master is actually so huge. This was also because the third elder had eaten a defective spirit breakthrough pill. If the third elder had swallowed a complete spirit breakthrough pill, Fang Yu would probably be dead already. The next finger will be between your eyebrows, the third elder said indifferently. At this moment, the system's notification sounded. Ding! The Slaughter Mall product has been refreshed. Chapter 29. Product refresh? Quick, what did it refresh? Fang Yu asked anxiously. Ding. Current product in Slaughter Mall, 1 life burning pill. Effect: increase one's strength by 1 level. Consume 10 years of lifespan for 100 breath. Maximum consumption is 70 years. The duration of the effect is random. Start from 100 breaths and peak at 1000 breath. Price: 1.0 slaughter points. I'll buy it, Fang Yu said without hesitation. Although the life-burning pill was harsh, it was a life-saving straw for Fang Yu. As long as he could kill the third elder, Fang Yu was willing to pay any price. Purchase successful. Does the host wish to use the life-burning pill? Yes. Fang Yu's eyes glinted fiercely. The third elder who was about to kill Fang Yu suddenly stopped. Because Fang Yu's aura was rising and he had reached the Martial Grand Master realm. Martial Grand Master. Impossible. The third elder looked as if he had seen a ghost. Wasn't this a ghost? He was about to kill Fang Yu, but now Fang Yu had broken through. What was going on? Could it be the spirit breakthrough pill? No. If it really was the spirit breakthrough pill, his first pill should be the spirit breakthrough pill. But the second pill is definitely not the spirit breakthrough pill. The third elder recalled everything that had happened and his heart sank. His aptitude was not good enough, not his brain. When the third elder saw Feng Yu's aura rising, he knew that he had obtained the spirit breakthrough pill and was preparing to break through to the martial Grand Master realm to kill him. He did not know that Feng Yu's pill had a problem, or Feng Yu himself had a problem. Anyway, he had not broken through to the martial Grand Master realm and was only at the peak of the martial Grand Master realm. But in this way, the third elder's advantage was even smaller. He did not have a divine weapon like the dragon teeth dagger. Therefore, the third elder had no choice but to use his precious spirit breakthrough pill. As long as he could kill Feng Yu and avenge Feng Han, the third elder did not care about this small price. However, the third elder had still underestimated Feng Yu. Things had already come to this point, and Feng Yu had unexpectedly brought out another trump card. "Feng Yu, I will fight you to the death," the third elder roared. "Fight to the death. Do you have the right to do so?" Feng Yu sneered and let go of the dragon teeth dagger. The third elder was puzzled by Feng Yu's actions. Why did he suddenly not want the saber? "In any case, I've already bet enough on this battle. It doesn't matter if the stakes are a little higher." Feng Yu took a deep breath and assumed a stance. "Fist martial arts?" The third elder smiled. He thought that Feng Yu was going to use the dragon teeth knife to hack around, but he didn't expect it to be martial arts. However, things like martial arts were hard to predict. It didn't mean that the higher the grade, the stronger it would be. Theoretically speaking, this was the case. "The next finger will still land between your eyebrows," the third elder thought. At first, he was really stunned by Feng Yu. After all, the peak of martial master and one-star martial master were not the same thing. He didn't know what method Feng Yu had used, but he had once again broken through and allowed them to stand on the same starting line. In the end, he gave up on the dragon teeth knife and decided to fight one-on-one. Wasn't this seeking death? "Since you want to die, I'll send you on your way," the third elder thought fiercely. However, the third elder quickly realized that he was wrong. Feng Yu's stance had changed. Faintly, the power of heaven and earth was trembling. The third elder's heart was filled with uneasiness. Using the power of heaven and earth, this was something that only martial arts could do. However, in many places martial arts could be used as treasures. It was extremely difficult to cultivate. It was rumored that the king of the underground black market, the Li family, had a martial art. However, other than the direct descendants of the Li family, no one else had the right to even look at it. Then where did Feng Yu get this martial art? Without waiting for the third elder to figure it out, Feng Yu had already made his move. 1. Beast. Emperor. Fist. Feng Yu roared out the name of this martial art word by word. At the same time, the light screen that had formed at an unknown time showed the appearance of many beasts. It was as if there were tens of thousands of beasts backing Feng Yu. This, not good. The third elder subconsciously wanted to escape. The power of the 10,000 beasts' Emperor Fist was too strong and covered the sky. Even if he didn't know what martial art it was, this martial art was enough to take his life. There was no doubt about it. Rumble. However, when Feng Yu punched out, the light screen of the 10,000 beasts in the sky poured down like a waterfall and instantly engulfed the third elder. Seeing this, Feng Yu couldn't help but be startled. Not good. In this way, won't the treasure that the third elder brought with him also turn into ashes? Although it was painful, Feng Yu couldn't care too much. After confirming that the third elder was dead, he quickly picked up the dragon teeth blade and left. Because the commotion just now was too big. Whoosh! 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 Not long after, people from all sides arrived. There were the upper echelons of the three big families and the tyrants of the black market. Even the butler of the Li family, Steward Chen, had come. What happened? Why is half of the mass grave gone? This person looked at the mass grave that was half gone. He was stunned and speechless. Spiritual martial arts. Someone used a spiritual martial arts. Steward Chen quickly found some clues. As the butler of the king of the underground black market, the Li family, his strength was unfathomable. It was rumored that he had been a martial grand master for many years. If he said so, then it was most likely the case. After all, there was another rumor that Steward Chen was in fact a true member of the Li family. It was just that he didn't have a good background and could not be regarded as a proper butler. However, in all these years, he had everything that he should have. This was not something that could be explained by taking credit for himself. It could only be said that Steward Chen was originally the blood of the Li family. Otherwise, how could such a loyal old man allow him to have such great achievements? If housekeeper Chen says so, then it should be so. However, it's not easy to execute a spiritual martial art. When a martial grand master executes a spiritual martial art, it's enough to drain all the spiritual energy in one's body. Fang Zhao said slowly. The most important thing is that it is not easy to cultivate a martial art. Unless you have great talent, you may not be able to cultivate it even if it is placed in front of you. Everyone deeply agreed. They had never cultivated a martial art before, but they had more or less learned the moves that were separated from the martial art. The profoundness of a martial art could be seen by looking at a leopard through a tube. Other than young geniuses, it could be said that they would not be able to comprehend anything. After all, martial arts of the 9th rank and below could be successfully cultivated with hard work and a bit of comprehension. Martial arts were not the same. After confirming that the commotion was caused by a martial art, everyone's mood became heavier. A person who was at least a martial grand master and knew martial arts had left in a hurry after causing trouble. How could they investigate? Chapter 30. Taking a step back, even if they found such a ferocious person, how should they deal with him? A great martial master who could use spiritual martial arts. If they really fought, it would be impossible for them to not leave a few lives behind. The main thing was that even if their people died, they might not be able to keep him. Thinking of this, everyone became silent. This matter was not easy to solve. This matter will not happen for no reason. Anyway, today's matter will be kept a secret for now. Everyone, go back and investigate carefully to see which family has the problem. Steward Chen made the final decision. Because if there really was such a ferocious person, they would not be willing to go and catch him. If something happened to any family, they could only admit that they were unlucky. Everyone did not care and left one after another. Huff, huff, Fang Yu hid in a dense forest, his face revealing a painful expression. The life-burning pill that he had just swallowed was finally about to disappear. What made Fang Yu shocked was that when the pill's effect came, it was fierce. When it disappeared, it was just as deadly. He felt as if he had been ignited. His internal organs and meridians were all burning. The pain lasted for hundreds of breaths before it disappeared. Fang Yu's eyes were slightly listless because it was too painful. However, I used the life-burning pill for a long time. I don't know how much lifespan I have left. Thinking of this, Fang Yu probed. Super slaughtering system, how much lifespan do I have left? Ding. The host has 1 year of lifespan left. 1 year. Fang Yu instantly became spirited. The exhaustion from before was swept away. He only had 1 year of lifespan left. Just now, he had not spent much time fighting with the third elder. How could he only have 1 year of lifespan left? However, he and the super slaughtering system were bound together. They were bound together for good and for bad. It should not lie to him about this kind of problem. 1 year. If I only have 1 year to live, how can I increase my lifespan? Fang Yu pondered for a while and said, Ding. As long as the host increases his cultivation, he can increase his lifespan. Under normal circumstances, a martial artist can live up to 100 years old, a martial master can live up to 120 years old, a great martial master can live up to 150 years old. The system replied mechanically. Fang Yu gradually calmed down. According to this inference, he had just extended the medicinal effect for 1,000 breaths. Because of this, even though he was already a 4-star martial master, he only had 1 year left to live. Of course, the so-called long lifespan of 100 years was just an average statement. It might not necessarily be a round number of 100. For example, Fang Yu was 15 years old. After burning 100 years of his lifespan, he still had 1 year left to live. Obviously, he was not in the average range. Although I burned 100 years of my lifespan, it was fortunate that I managed to escape from Skylight City before the effects of the drug wore off. Otherwise, if I were to be caught by the experts of the various forces, it would be hard to explain myself. Fang Yu thought to himself. Now that things had come to this, it could only be considered a blessing in disguise. As for leveling up, it shouldn't be a problem. Fang Yu thought of the key point. The life-burning pill was good, and the spirit breakthrough pill was also good. Their biggest characteristic was that after using them, they wouldn't be able to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth for a period of time. Or rather, it would be very slow. The reason for this was related to the fact that the drug had destroyed his meridians. Now, his meridians were rather weak. Without spending a period of time to recover, it would be impossible for them to function normally. Super Massacre System, can I level up by killing monsters? Fang Yu asked again. From his point of view, absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth was the correct way for a martial artist to level up. However, the Super Massacre System was unusual. Who knew if his meridians were damaged? He could still continue to gain experience points. Ding. Yes. The Super Massacre System's gaining experience points and absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth do not conflict with each other. As expected, Fang Yu suddenly understood. Previously, when he was breaking through on the spot, he had an epiphany and knew that the two shouldn't conflict with each other. In other words, Fang Yu's cultivation was actually a two-pronged approach. One was from absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and the other was from the Super Massacre System's experience points. Although he still didn't understand how the Super Massacre System worked, as long as it could help Fang Yu level up and become stronger, it was enough. And in comparison, it seems that the Super Massacre System leveled up faster, Fang Yu muttered to himself. As for the slaughter store, Fang Yu didn't want to think about it for the time being. The next level required 10,0 points. After he bought the life-burning pill, he only had 2,0 points. It was not enough. Speaking of which, the slaughter store's items are really interesting. What is the rank of the life-burning pill? I've never heard of it. Fang Yu thought of the life-burning pill that he had swallowed. Although the side effects were shocking, the effect was equally shocking. That's right, the life-burning pill didn't state the level restriction. If I was a peak martial spirit and swallowed it, wouldn't I be able to break through and become a martial king? Fang Yu licked his lips. The spirit breakthrough pill didn't have this ability. This kind of life-risking item, the next time it refreshed, it would be better to buy one as a backup. Have you investigated? Is Third Elder the only one who went out? Fang Zhao closed his eyes and rested, listening to the reports of the people below. Yes, the Third Elder went out before midnight. It seems that he left the city, a Fang family steward hesitantly replied. Where the Elder went, what the Elder did, it wasn't something they should care about. But since the family head asked, they had to know. Who else went out? Seeing that they were hesitating, Fang Zhao asked. Reporting to the family head, there's also Fang Yu who went out. The Elder lowered his head and replied, but Fang Yu has been leaving early and returning late these days. There shouldn't be any problems. There shouldn't be any problems? Fang Zhao smiled meaningfully. You can leave. Don't spread this matter out for now. Yes. The elder retreated. Fang Yu. Fang Yi, your son is indeed not simple. Fang Zhao narrowed his eyes. No matter what, Fang Zhao didn't believe that Fang Yu had the ability to kill the third elder. The third elder wasn't as simple as he looked. He was a poisonous snake. If Fang Zhao wasn't strong enough, Fang Zhao's position would probably be coveted. But now that the third elder was dead, and Fang Yu was missing, everything was confusing. Forget it, whether it's the third elder or Fang Yu, when the Tang sect's attitude is clear, it won't matter anymore. With that, Fang Zhao closed his eyes. That's right, although Fang Yu and Tang Wu had agreed that all the benefits would go to Fang Yu, the Tang sect would still give the Fang family a certain amount of face and benefit. The Fang family wouldn't be left empty-handed. With this, Fang Zhao could finally fulfill some of the ambitions he had buried deep in his heart. When that time came, the small skylight city wouldn't be worth mentioning. Chapter 31. Fang Yu meditated for a while, and his body's condition had stabilized. Now, I'm just one step away from becoming a 6-star martial master, Fang Yu muttered to himself. Fang Yu's experience points were now 590,006,0000. Just one step away from becoming a 6-star martial master. After killing the third elder, Fang Yu had gained a total of 18,000 experience points. Originally, he was only a 4-star martial master, but now, his strength had increased by more than 1 star. Although he could not absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth for the time being, his strength was close to that of a 6-star martial master, and it was enough to protect himself in Skylight City. There are quite a lot of beasts around Skylight City. Why don't I kill some beasts and increase my level before returning? Fang Yu could not help but think. After the battle with the third elder, he knew that he still had many shortcomings. Indeed, Fang Yu, who had obtained the super slaughter system, had unlimited potential. However, compared to these old foxes who had lived for many years, there was still a gap. For example, the dragon teeth dagger had mysteriously absorbed a portion of the medicinal efficacy of the dagger, and he had almost failed to break through to the martial Grand Master realm. Then, he had been killed by the third elder. Just thinking about this kind of thing made him shudder with fear. Fang Yu had just walked out of his hiding place when he noticed some movement not far away. There seemed to be some figures in front of him, and he did not know what they were doing. I remember this place is... Fang Yu seemed to have thought of something and took the initiative to walk closer. Seeing Fang Yu walk over, the people guarding the place immediately frowned. Unauthorized personnel, do not come near. Otherwise, you will be killed without mercy. Fang Yu saw clearly who was here. They were the law enforcement team of the underground black market. There's a trade fair here? Fang Yu asked. Oh! The law enforcement team was stunned. I'm here to participate in the trade fair. Fang Yu threw the trade fair over. The law enforcement team took it. After confirming that there was no mistake, they hesitated. What's wrong? Can't I enter with the trade fair's certificate? Fang Yu asked. And no, that's not it. It's just that the trade fair today is somewhat private. Even if you participate in it, I'm afraid that you won't be able to gain much from it. The members of the law enforcement team answered hesitantly. Fang Yu immediately came to a realization. There were actually 2 types of trade fairs. One was the official disposal of stolen goods by the underground black market, which was personally hosted by the underground black market. The other type was closer to a private nature. Some forces and cultivators who were on good terms with each other would meet in private and exchange all sorts of things. They would usually only trade with people they were familiar with. If someone they weren't familiar with went, they would most likely return empty-handed. As for why they had to use the name of the underground black market, it was because many of them did not know the true identity of the other party. With the underground black market acting as a middleman and a notary, everyone would feel much more at ease. I'm just taking a look. If there's nothing good, then so be it. I don't really care. Fang Yu smiled and waved his hand, causing the law enforcement team to look at each other. Although they were somewhat curious and puzzled by Fang Yu's reaction, it was pointless for them to continue pestering him when he had already said that he didn't care. Under the guidance of the law enforcement team, Fang Yu entered one of the strongholds here. Fang Yu had just recalled that when he left the underground black market, he had talked about these passageways with the Li family servant who had led him here. He had also mentioned some of the arrangements in the vicinity of the underground black market. Since Fang Yu was already the first Miss and Steward Chen's personal guardian, the Li family servant naturally told him everything he knew. Fang Yu and the third elder had fought to the death. Although this matter did not need to be explained to anyone, it was inevitable that there would be an explanation when it was brought up. Participating in the trade fair was just an excuse, even if the other party might not believe it. Oh? Why is there someone else here? This trade fair isn't completely monopolized by you, first young Master Tao. How strange would it be for someone else to come? It seems like only a few people know about it. Could it be that they're here to take a look? Looking at Fang Yu who had been brought in, the few people who had sat down in advance could not stop clicking their tongues in wonder. It was a rather spacious hall, but in terms of the number of people, it could only accommodate a dozen or so people. It was considered a small trade fair. Other than Fang Yu, there were 7 or 8 people who had come in advance. They were all rather surprised by Fang Yu's sudden arrival. That was because today was considered a prearranged trade fair, and they were only trading with acquaintances. Therefore, they were more or less not used to the sudden arrival of a stranger. However, nothing could be accomplished without rules, and the underground black market had its own rules. Unless the other party had made a mistake first, the underground black market would rarely violate the rules set by itself. It was even more so for forces that had close ties with the underground black market. Fang Yu randomly chose a seat and sat down. Wearing a mask, he said in a hoarse voice, "Everyone, please make yourselves at home. You don't have to mind my presence." What a charlatan! The man who had been called first young Master Tao earlier sneered and said, "Hurry up and start. I don't want any more changes to happen." Hearing that, the crowd nodded slightly in agreement. The black market token had some special characteristic. It was a one-time consumable item. Generally speaking, once the trade fair began, those who held the token would not foolishly join in unless they knew what kind of trade fair it was beforehand. Otherwise, once they entered and realized that it was already the end of the day, the token would not be returned. "I'll go first. What I want to trade today is..." First young Master Tao listed out a list at great length, and the crowd could not help but raise their eyebrows. Although the items listed by first young Master Tao were not as expensive or exaggerated as imagined, they were very practical. Obviously, he had done some research before deciding to trade these items. Other than that, there were a few items with unknown names and origins that would be his final treasures. First young Master Tao, are you going to participate in the selection of the 4 great academies? Someone could not help but ask. Oh? The 4 great academies? The crowd's expression changed. Azure Dragon Academy, Vermilion Bird Academy, Black Tortoise Academy, White Tiger Academy. They were collectively known as the 4 great academies. The myriad spirit continent was extremely vast, and there were many sections. Academies were a product between clans and sections. Generally speaking, warriors would cultivate in academies for at least 3 years and reach the limit of 9 years before leaving. Unless there were no better options, they would often leave after 9 years to establish their own sects or return to their clans. All in all, academies were forces with certain special characteristics. For this reason, there had always been many academies on the myriad spirit continent. There were not many, but there were at least tens of thousands of them. And this was only referring to those that were in the mainstream. There were probably even more that were not. The 4 major academies were the 4 strongest academies in the vicinity of the Great Xia dynasty. They had always only accepted geniuses, and each of them had amazing inheritances that people yearned for. Chapter 32. This was because one of the recruitment criteria of the 4 academies was to only recruit people who had reached the martial grandmaster level before the age of 20. A martial grandmaster before the age of 20. This kind of proud son of heaven, no matter where he was placed, he would be a figure that no one dared to approach. For example, in Skylight City, the 3 family heads were only martial grandmasters, but they were definitely older than 20. The youngest, Fang Zhao, was in his 30s. He had probably become a martial grandmaster at the age of 25 and taken over the Fang family. He was already the youngest family head and one of the youngest martial grandmasters in Skylight City. A martial grandmaster before the age of 20. If others knew about it, they would only laugh at it. However, the recruitment criteria of the 4 academies were the lowest. They recruited students once a year, and each time they recruited more than 100 people, with a maximum of 1,000 people. This showed that the world was vast, and there were many talents among the people. Fang Yu knew about the 4 academies, but it was the first time someone had mentioned them. The 4 academies. Fang Yu's eyes flashed with passion. He had the super massacre system. Did that mean he had the opportunity to further his studies in the 4 academies? You saw through it. To be honest, I, Tao Yuqing, am turning 19 soon, but I am also a 9-star martial grandmaster. The next step is to become a martial grandmaster before the selection of the 4 academies. I have been preparing for this day for a long time, and I am confident that I will succeed in becoming a martial grandmaster. After all, I, Tao Yuqing, am the youngest 9-star martial grandmaster in the Tao family, Tao Yuqing said proudly. Fang Yu took a few more glances at the man who had simply disguised himself. The Tao family that Tao Yuqing belonged to should be the 4th family in Skylight City, the family of Fang Zhao's fiancé. Thinking of this, Fang Yu's eyes were filled with murderous intent. If what the 3rd elder said was true, then the root cause of his mother's illness and death from poisoning were all done by the Tao family. The reason was none other than that Fang Yi had suddenly become pregnant with Fang Yu, which had caused the Tao family to lose face. As for whether Fang Yi was really dead or not, Fang Yu wasn't sure. After all, this was only the 3rd elder's side of the story. However, the matter of the Tao family framing Fang Yi was most likely true. The reason was simple. The 3rd elder believed that Fang Yu was dead for sure, so there was no need to deceive Fang Yu. Moreover, this kind of thing shouldn't be considered top secret. In other words, as long as Fang Yu investigated carefully, it would be easy for him to get the result. Under Tao Yuqing's eloquence, many people's attention returned to the things he listed out. There were medicinal pills, spirit weapons, and even martial arts. There definitely wouldn't be so many things for sale through the proper channels. However, the Tao family is no longer the same as before. With the connection to the underground black market, it wouldn't be strange for them to have some unknown items for sale. Fang Yu thought to himself, "Ding. Mission: obtain the black tortoise shield fragment." Fang Yu's eyes narrowed. Black tortoise shield fragment? He glanced around and found the black tortoise shield fragment that the super slaughter system had mentioned. This was really just a fragment. It wasn't even the size of a palm. At a glance, one could feel that the material was special. There wasn't anything special about it. This is the black tortoise shield? The black tortoise shield seems to be an incredible spirit weapon. Fang Yu stroked his chin as he thought. In fact, Fang Yu's understanding of the myriad spirit continent came from the memories of the original owner of the body, other than the cramming he did during these few nights. However, the original owner's understanding of the myriad spirit continent was limited. After all, he was just an unlikable son in a small place. Fang Yu didn't believe that he would know too much. "I wonder how much I want to exchange for this item?" Fang Yu said in a hoarse voice. Tao Yuqing couldn't help but look over. He recognized the item that this person was interested in. It was a gift that he had picked up by chance. This item was just made of a special material. There wasn't anything special about it. However, Tao Yuqing always felt that it should have some background. As for its background, even he wasn't sure. Now that someone was interested in it, it was great. "This item. I want an epiphany elixir." Tao Yuqing blinked and said, "Epiphany elixir." Everyone was shocked when they heard this. Everyone knew that epiphany was an extremely mysterious state. Perhaps after entering the state of epiphany for a breath, one would be able to see the light of day. Therefore, the value of the epiphany elixir was very high. It was not below the spirit breakthrough elixir. Tao Yuqing wanted to break through to the martial grandmaster level. Naturally, he had to prepare enough materials. The epiphany elixir was one of them. Unfortunately, this item could only be found by chance. Even though the Tao family had spent a lot of effort and had the help of their in-laws in the underground black market, they had only managed to find 2 of them. Now that Tao Yuqing wanted an epiphany elixir, many people felt that Tao Yuqing was asking for too much. "Epiphany elixir? I don't have an epiphany elixir." Before Fang Yu could finish his thought, he heard a sound in his mind. Ding. Transaction item. Epiphany elixir. This, Fang Yu opened his eyes wide. How could this be? You're just a piece of trash. You want an epiphany elixir? Fang Yu chuckled and said. Tao Yuqing did not pay much attention to Fang Yu's words because he was just saying it. He did not know why, but he subconsciously hated Fang Yu. It was an indescribable hatred. It was very strange. However, if you add these items together and give me some spirit stones, it's not like I can't accept a piece of trash like you. Fang Yu pointed at the items on Tao Yuqing's list and said. These items were the battle armor, the cicada wing battle armor, a one-time use concealed weapon, the viper lure, a one-time use spirit light barrier, and an origin recovery elixir. The Zen battle armor was just like its name. It was very light and had a certain amount of defensive ability. Even so, ordinary spirit weapons might not be able to break through its defense. The viper lure was a one-time use concealed weapon. Once hit, hundreds of snake venom would enter the body. The body would immediately become chaotic. It would not be strange for anyone below the martial grandmaster level to die on the spot. The spirit light barrier could block a certain amount of damage, but it could not exceed the martial grandmaster level. The origin recovery elixir was much simpler compared to the previous items. Its only use was to recover the origin chi in the body. In other words, it directly provided experience points. Is this true? Tao Yuqing's breathing quickened. Do you really have an epiphany elixir? He was just saying it. He did not expect that someone would really bring an epiphany elixir. If Fang Yu really had an epiphany elixir, Tao Yuqing would trade for it no matter what. Yes, but I still want to see if your price can satisfy me, Fang Yu said casually. Chapter 33. That's for sure, Tao Yuqing quickly replied. Everyone, Tao Yuqing, have great use for this item. Please don't take it from me. Otherwise, don't blame me for turning my back on you. Pausing for a moment, Tao Yuqing warned the crowd. Everyone did not care about Tao Yuqing's threat. First of all, many of them did not even expose themselves. Even if they took it, what could Tao Yuqing do? Secondly, they were from the nearby towns. Why would they care about Tao Yuqing's threat? Moreover, this person seemed to have taken a fancy to one of Tao Yuqing's junk. Even if they wanted to snatch it, they did not have the capital. I'll add 500,000 spirit stones. What do you think? Tao Yuqing thought for a while and said, the normal price of an epiphany pill was about 1,000,000 spirit stones. The few items that Fang Yu named were already worth hundreds of thousands of spirit stones. Moreover, they were all very practical and were not so common. Moreover, he had to add in a mysterious and strange collection of his. According to the normal price, Tao Yuqing added 300,000 spirit stones. However, Tao Yuqing was not at ease. He needed this epiphany pill too much. Therefore, he was willing to give an extra 200,000 spirit stones. As long as he was sure to get the item, everything else was in vain. Okay. Fang Yu pretended to be silent and then nodded. This made Tao Yuqing overjoyed. An epiphany pill. After getting this epiphany pill, he could almost leave immediately. Therefore, he quickly promoted the transaction and directly transferred the spirit stones to Fang Yu's black market account. Ding. Mission completed. Obtained slaughter points 1. 0. Fang Yu raised his eyebrows. This mission was not bad. Not only did he obtain a slaughter points, but he also took advantage of it. What I want to trade are these things. Tao Yuqing's happy expression was seen by everyone. After knowing that a rich person had come, the next person immediately reported all kinds of things he wanted to trade. However, this time, Fang Yu did not speak. Firstly, the things that he had exchanged with Tao Yuqing had more or less made up for some of his shortcomings. The other things were not so urgent. Secondly, this person looked as if he had caught a fat sheep. His price was a little too high, which made Fang Yu a little uninterested. Of course, the most important thing was that there were no more notifications from the super slaughter system. However, I didn't take away the black tortoise shield fragment this time. The super slaughter system is really hard to figure out. Fang Yu could not help but think. These are the things I want to trade. In the end, the second cultivator who wanted to trade didn't have many deals and could only leave regretfully. The third cultivator figured out some of his own tricks and deliberately added some ancient items. However, there was still no reaction from the super slaughter system. The super slaughter system was Fang Yu's biggest financial backer. If it didn't say anything, then where would Fang Yu get the money to buy it? He wasn't going to buy something that he couldn't understand. As for the black tortoise shield, I don't know how many pieces there were when this thing was complete. This piece of mine is at most 1%. It's really like looking for a needle in a haystack. Fang Yu thought to himself as he toyed with the fragments of the black tortoise shield. What I want to trade is a scroll of map. The fourth cultivator who wanted to trade looked like a young girl. She wasn't very tall and she only wanted to trade one thing. It was a map that looked very ancient. Even the people present were not sure how old this item was. Ding. Mission. Obtain the map of the Void Martial Emperor's Cave. What? The map of the Void Martial Emperor's Cave. Fang Yu sucked in a breath of cold air. It can't be. There was actually a map of the Void Martial Emperor's Cave. Was this really not a joke? Although it was as the name suggested, the so-called map of the Void Martial Emperor's Cave might not contain much of the Void Martial Emperor's inheritance. However, it still belonged to a Void Martial Emperor. A Void Martial Emperor's wealth was hard to measure. As long as a little was revealed, it would be enough for Fang Yu and the rest to soar into the sky. What price do you want? Fang Yu asked again. I think. The young girl was stunned for a moment before replying. These words made everyone who looked at her not know whether to laugh or cry. What did she mean by I think? Did they come here to play around? However, Fang Yu was not in a hurry. This was because he knew that the super slaughter system probably also knew that he was a pauper. Or rather, with Fang Yu's current wealth, it was impossible for him to buy the map of the Void Martial Emperor's Cave. I want 10 million spiritual stones. The young girl suddenly raised her eyes and said, 10 million spiritual stones. Everyone was dumbfounded. Why don't you just rob us? Tao Yuqing scolded with a smile. Wasn't that right? 10 million spiritual stones. Even the Tao family could not casually take out such a sum. If they took it out, their vitality would be greatly damaged. If they took it out further, it would be a serious injury. After all, a family needed a lot of money to operate. There were also many people who cultivated. The burden was huge. It was impossible for them to take out 10 million spiritual stones for Tao Yuqing, even if he was the eldest son of the Tao family. It's good to rob. Another woman who looked like a middle-aged woman said with a smile. Aye. This item is my family's heirloom. If it wasn't for the urgent need for money, I would never sell it, the young girl said angrily. In response, everyone shook their heads gently. They did not care about where you came from or what your reason was. In short, her asking price was too high. That was the truth. Young girl, I think it's better for you to auction your item. There are too many spendthrifts in the auction. There are only a few of us here. Do you think anyone would really be spendthrifts? An old voice advised him. Fang Yu's bid earlier was indeed a little shocking. After all, the epiphany pill was not something that could be obtained just because one said so. It was more precious than the breakthrough pill. It would not appear casually in a small trade fair like this. However, it would be a miscalculation if they treated Fang Yu as a spendthrift and wanted to take a bite out of him. 10 million spiritual stones is not a small sum. Even I can't take out that much in one go. Fang Yu said slowly. Everyone had expected Fang Yu's answer. 10 million spiritual stones. Even a family would suffer a great loss if they took out that much money. How could they really buy an unknown map? Even if the map seemed to have some value, that was still the case. Betting on a treasure was undoubtedly a gamble. It was a huge gamble. If the price was low, it would be fine if it was just for fun. However, 10 million spiritual stones? How could they play with that? This young girl had come to the wrong place. The young girl panicked when she heard what they said. Clearly, she had no experience in this area. Just as she was at a loss, Fang Yu continued, however, I don't have spiritual stones. Everyone else does. Don't you think so? Chapter 34. What do you mean by that? Do you want us to crowdfund it to you? Someone chuckled. However, Fang Yu was speaking the truth. 10 million spirit stones would be a huge loss to a single person or even a single family. However, if a few forces were to invest together, the loss would not be so great. However, they had no reason to help Fang Yu. There's no need for crowdfunding. However, before I left, my elders gave me some sweets so that I could collect more ancient items. As he spoke, Fang Yu took out a jade bottle and shook it. 10 epiphany pills for 10 million spirit stones. That's not expensive, right? What? You still have epiphany pills? Tao Yuqing could not sit still anymore. He stood up and said, Why didn't you say so earlier? Why would I say so? I'm not staying here for long. I still have to go to other places. If there's nothing that I like, why would I trade? Fang Yu found it funny. No matter what, there are very few things that I like. Spirit stones and the like, as long as I'm willing, I can easily sell them. Tao Yuqing could not refute his reason. This was because exchanging epiphany pills for things might not be something that he liked, but spirit stones could definitely be exchanged for it. Which family did not have a few juniors? Giving away an epiphany pill was like giving away a fortune. 1 million spirit stones was definitely worth it. Thinking of this, the eyes of the other participants lit up. Even if they could not sell the epiphany pills, they could still earn money for 1 or 2 spirit weapons. Why would they not want something that came for free? Wait! Tao Yuqing shouted and immediately asked the people nearby, How much funds can we use directly in our Tao family account? The person who was asked was the person in charge of the black market. He checked and replied coldly, 5 million spirit stones. So little? Tao Yuching frowned. However, he quickly reacted. Recently, the Tao family was planning something. If they succeeded, the Tao family might become one of the 3 big families in Skylight City. There were still many benefits to being one of the 3 big families. However, the Tao family did not have enough resources in the past and could not compete with the Lin, Zhang, and Fang families. After mingling in the underground black market for more than 10 years, the Tao family basically possessed the capital to challenge the 3 great families. A scheme was born. As a result, although the Tao family was still a large family with a large business, their funds for activities had been greatly reduced. All of it had been spent on the most important things. There were even fewer people that Tao Yuching, the eldest young master of the Tao family, could use directly. 5 million is also 5 epiphany pills. I want 5 of these things. Tao Yuching made a prompt decision. I'll pay 1 million spirit stones. I'll take 1. The old voice from before suddenly spoke. I'll give you 2.5 million. 3,600,000 for 3. I'll pay 5 million. Just give me 1. As everyone continued to bid, Tao Yuching's expression became very ugly. Because these people were definitely not here to argue, they really wanted to obtain this item. Just as Fang Yu thought, which family didn't have a few juniors? Furthermore, these people were not even martial grand masters. The benefits of a single epiphany pill were obvious. Spending money to buy one was definitely not a loss. Tao Yuching was fuming with anger. Eldest young Master Tao, this old man spent 1 epiphany pill to buy a few of your junk. We're dying for it. Now that you're selling 10 at once, there's nothing wrong with us participating, right? The woman said in a strange tone, you know that our talents are limited. Without external help, it's very difficult for us to improve. For something like the epiphany pill, your Tao family has prepared in advance for you. After searching for 2 to 3 years, you only have 2 or 3 pills. You can imagine how difficult it is. We don't have the ability of the Tao family. That's reasonable. I don't want much, just 1. The old man agreed. The highest bidder wins. The person who wanted 3 replied coldly. You're very good, you're very good. Tao Yuching was so angry that he laughed. Of course we're very good. What, eldest young Master Tao, are you going to silence us? The woman chuckled. Tao Yuching was silent. Although the Tao family was much stronger now, he knew in his heart that these people were not easy to deal with. There was no need to become mortal enemies for no reason. The highest bidder wins. Tao Yuching agreed helplessly. Fang Yu was naturally happy to see this kind of scene, because he found another way to make money. Wool for betting. Simply put, it was wool for the super slaughter system. For example, when he bought the Black Tortoise Shield's fragments earlier, Fang Yu had obtained several 100,000 spiritual stones and several good items. This time, he might be able to earn a few million more spiritual stones. Why wouldn't he be happy? After a round of bargaining, Fang Yu's epiphany pills were sold at an average price of 1.25 million spiritual stones. After giving the 10 million spiritual stones to the cross-dressing girl, Fang Yu obtained the Void Martial Emperor's cave-dwelling map. Got it. Fang Yu had just obtained it when he realized that it was gone. It was taken away by the super slaughter system. No, this time it's different. Fang Yu quickly discovered the difference. What was different from before was that when the super slaughter system took away the Void Martial Emperor's cave-dwelling map, it was completely broken down and turned into specks of light that appeared in his mind. The super slaughter system even deciphered it. Looking at the state of the map, Fang Yu was extremely shocked. Previously, this map looked extremely old. Other than that, there were many things that could not be distinguished. However, it was different now. The super slaughter system had removed all the misleading places on the map and displayed the true location of the Void Martial Emperor's map. Azure Dragon Island. Isn't this the location of the Azure Dragon Academy? Fang Yu's expression became strange. The Azure Dragon Academy was one of the 4 great academies. Martial kings were commonly seen there. In other words, it was basically impossible to sneak in to search for treasures. Going there would be suicide. Furthermore, whether or not he could successfully enter the Azure Dragon Island was a huge problem. Don't tell me I still have to enter the Azure Dragon Academy? Fang Yu was dumbfounded. Ding. System mission. Enter the Azure Dragon Academy. Seeing this, Fang Yu could not help but be petrified. What he said really came true. This was one of the 4 great academies. It was not like going to a restaurant to eat. How could it be so easy to enter? Thank you for buying my item. However, this item is my family heirloom. One day I will redeem it tenfold. The girl who sold the map walked towards Fang Yu and said while biting her lip. It was obvious that if not for some difficulties, she would not casually sell her family heirloom. However, she did not believe that Fang Yu could easily decipher the secret of the map. She still hoped to buy back her family heirloom in the future. Chapter 35. Okay, Fang Yu agreed vaguely. He didn't care if the other party had the ability to buy the map back. It was hard to say if he would encounter such a one-time deal again in the future. Thank you. The young lady agreed and left in a hurry. Obviously, she wasn't going to stay here after achieving her goal. Let's continue with the transaction, Fang Yu said calmly. Obviously, after being labeled as rich and overbearing, the person in charge here had unknowingly become Fang Yu. This was something that even Tao Yuqing had to accept wholeheartedly. There was no other way. Fang Yu had the epiphany pill that they didn't have. Most importantly, they didn't know how many epiphany pills Fang Yu had. If Fang Yu could take out 10 more, a few epiphany pills would be enough. He would undoubtedly be warmly received and treated as a guest of honor. However, Fang Yu and the others were disappointed that no more epiphany pills appeared in the following transactions. This made everyone feel rather regretful. That's right. Young Master Tao, you're in such a hurry to prepare. Did you receive an invitation? The female martial artist asked curiously. Tao Yuqing chuckled and said, This isn't a secret. I might as well tell you. I haven't received an invitation yet. However, I'll definitely receive one soon. What do you mean? The female martial artist asked curiously. It's very simple. They've entrusted the Tianji sect to help select those who meet the criteria or are close to the criteria. Then, they'll issue the invitation letters in advance. Of course, something like an invitation letter isn't something you can go to just because it's given out. If you haven't reached the Martial Grandmaster level 7 days before the selection and don't drip your blood onto the invitation letter to make it recognize you as its owner, the invitation letter will self-destruct. On the contrary, if you meet the criteria, the location of the selection will be displayed. The location is different every year. There are other arrangements. Tao Yuqing sighed. I already received an invitation letter last year. Unfortunately, I didn't reach the Martial Grandmaster level. To be safe, I cultivated slowly. Now, I'm just one step away from breaking through. I see. While everyone was enlightened, they couldn't help but take another look at Tao Yuqing. The Tao family had produced a good son. Although it was rumored that the eldest daughter of the Li family was also extraordinary, no matter how extraordinary she was, she had not reached the level of a 9-star martial master, right? Therefore, Tao Yuqing was still superior. Send someone to escort me to the underground black market, Fang Yu said to the person in charge of the trade fair. Yes. The person in charge didn't show any impatience, because he knew that Fang Yu had a Black Diamond account. Black Diamond account holders were definitely the real VIPs of the underground black market. 4 VIPs, escorting them was a piece of cake. Although Tao Yuqing had taken a few more glances at Fang Yu, he had no intention of delving into his background. After all, someone who could take out 10 epiphany pills at once couldn't possibly come from a nameless force. Offending Fang Yu was the same as offending this force. Moreover, according to what he said, these things are the capital that his ancestors gave him to collect rare treasures. I'm afraid he has the backing of an expert alchemist. Tao Yuqing speculated. The value of an expert alchemist who could refine epiphany pills was not inferior to a force with a martial grand master in charge. It might even be better. After all, the person who could concoct the epiphany pill was not weak to begin with. In addition, he had friends all over the world because of his alchemy skills. Once he became hostile, it would implicate a series of people. After hesitating for a while, Tao Yuqing still didn't dare to send someone to follow him. After arriving at the underground black market, Fang Yu found a secluded place and changed back to his original appearance. Then, he went to visit the Li family. Why are you here? The person who received Fang Yu was Li Qiuhong. Eldest miss is still cultivating? Fang Yu glanced at Li Qiuhong, who was sweating profusely, and couldn't help but ask. Yes. I feel like I'm about to break through. Li Qiuhong nodded and said with a trace of regret, but I'm going to miss this year's recruitment by the 4 great academies. That's right. No matter how talented Li Qiuhong was, it was too difficult for her to break through and become a martial grand master in such a short time. Although there was a certain probability, it was still too difficult. Ding. System quest. Help Li Qiuhong break through and become a martial grand master. Hearing this, Fang Yu was stunned. I'm not even a martial grand master yet. How am I going to help Li Qiuhong break through and become a martial grand master? Ding. Host has obtained Li Qiuhong's exclusive item, the Epiphany Pill. Fang Yu was stunned. There was a set of quest items? Young mistress, I'm here this time for one thing. As he spoke, Fang Yu took out an item. What is this? The Epiphany Pill. After seeing what Fang Yu gave her, Li Qiuhong opened her mouth in shock. It was the Epiphany Pill. 1,000,000 spiritual stones. It was hard to find one. During this period, Li Qiuhong had sent people to look for it, but they were all intercepted. She just received news that a batch of Epiphany pills had appeared. Unfortunately, they were all divided up. Because the trade fair was small at that time, the Li family did not send their own people. When they received the news, the trade fair had already ended. Now that Fang Yu took out an Epiphany pill in the blink of an eye, she would be lying if she said she was not shocked. I got it by chance. Treat it as a small repayment to eldest Mississippi, Fang Yu grinned and said. Fang Yu, you've helped me a lot. Li Qiuhong took a deep breath and said. In fact, as long as she wanted to, it was not a problem to use the family's resources to become a 9-star martial master. Although there were some hidden dangers, compared to the recruitment of the 4 great academies, it was still a profit. The problem was, what about after becoming a 9-star martial master? Without a treasure like the Epiphany Pill, it would be difficult to progress further. Although the underground black market was extensive, the king of the underground black market was the Li family. It did not mean that the Li family had the final say. All these years, it would be too exaggerated to say that the Epiphany Pill had not appeared even once. However, the Li family had their own difficulties. If they were not careful, they would be intercepted and there was nothing they could do. In short, Fang Yu's gift of the Epiphany Pill was timely help. All the debts from before were more or less repaid. Then, Li Qiuhong hurriedly went into seclusion. Help me prepare a quiet room, Fang Yu said to the Li family servant. He was now a consecrator of the Li family and had a certain status here. The servant did not dare to disobey. Inside the quiet room, Fang Yu first swallowed the pill he obtained from the trade. The experience he obtained was not much, just 1,000 points, allowing him to smoothly advance to a 6-star martial master. 6-star martial master. Can I think about the matter of the Academy's invitation letter? Fang Yu's eyes flickered. Just as Tao Yuqing and the others said, the people of the Tianji sect were observing and paying attention to the potential seeds. If he wanted to get the invitation letter, he would have to hurry up. Chapter 36. After all, the distribution of invitations would not last forever. It would probably stop sometime before the selection. Then it would depend on the potential of the person who received the invitation, whether or not they could activate the selection location before the time was up. According to the usual practice, the invitations would stop around a month before the selection. 7 days before the selection, the activation location. Fang Yu estimated that he only had 3 months left, or maybe even less. No matter what, the rules were decided by the 4 great academies. Every year there would be some minor adjustments to the rules, they could only deduce the general outline. 3 months is enough. Fang Yu let out a sigh of relief. From the first level of body refinement to now, it had not even been half a month. 3 months of time was more than enough. Speaking of which, how many slaughter points do I have? Fang Yu thought of the slaughter city. Originally, after completing the random mission, his slaughter points had increased to 3,0. But after buying the life-burning pill, it was only 2,0. After completing the Black Tortoise Shield Fragment mission, it increased by 1,0. But now, Fang Yu did not know if he did not look, but when he looked he was shocked. It's 10,0? The reward for the Void Emperor's cave-dwelling map mission is so high? Fang Yu clicked his tongue in wonder. At that time he did not pay attention to the system's notification, because he had earned millions of spirit stones from this meal. He was so excited that he did not even have time to think about it. After calming down a little, the Super Slaughter system had revealed the secret of the map. Thus Fang Yu did not have time to see how many slaughter points he had. Now that he saw it was 10,0, how could he not be shocked? Upgrade the Slaughter City. Fang Yu quickly chose to upgrade the Slaughter City. In his eyes, the Slaughter City was a treasure bowl. A special treasure bowl. Moreover, the Super Slaughter system had said that as long as he continued to upgrade, the Slaughter City would be able to produce products. Ding. Using 10,0 slaughter points to upgrade. Ding. Now the Slaughter City is level 2. Fixed product. Vitality Pill. Vitality Pill. Vitality Pill. Recovers necrotic vitality. Price. 1,0 slaughter points. Fang Yu frowned. The description of this vitality pill was very strange. Did it just dismiss him with a few words? System, what do you mean by restoring necrotic vitality? Fang Yu could not help but ask. Literally. This time, the system did not explain in detail. Fang Yu didn't pursue the matter either. He had more or less figured out the character of the Super Slaughter system. Some things should be said, it would definitely say. If it didn't say anything, it probably wouldn't say anything. The most important thing now is to increase my cultivation. Fang Yu took a deep breath and said, if he was a martial grandmaster, why would he care about the third elder? The Super Slaughter system, the key is still the word slaughter. But there is no lack of killing in the underground black market. Now that I am a consecrator, it shouldn't be difficult for me to become stronger through battle. Fang Yu immediately contacted Steward Chen. Steward Chen looked at Fang Yu for a long time before slowly saying, you want to participate in a competition with many killings? Yes. Fang Yu nodded. Martial artists or demonic beasts can do it. Yes. And then the scope is not small. Steward Chen pondered for a while before making the arrangements. No matter what, he was the Li family's butler. He knew how to operate the underground black market. This is called survival mode. The one who survives to the end will have a very generous reward. But there are many people going in at the same time. There are also many demonic beasts inside. Even if you die inside, it is not impossible. Steward Chen was silent for a while before saying, "Of course, I am talking about the highest difficulty. If it is the normal difficulty, the rewards will not be high, but the safety will be greatly increased. It depends on what you choose." "I will choose the more difficult one." Fang Yu quickly made his decision. Although the normal difficulty was not dangerous, it was also not very challenging. Fang Yu was not here for stability. He wanted to quickly increase his level. If he could increase his level, then even if it was a little dangerous, Fang Yu would accept it. Okay. Steward Chen was silent for a while before saying, 3 days later. The Li family is indeed the king of the underground black market. They even have such a treasure. Fang Yu was hiding in a big tree. He looked up and was amazed. The survival mode was mainly carried out in a small space. This was a cave that had long collapsed and was on the verge of collapse. Perhaps in 8 or 10 years, it would completely collapse and be buried in nothingness. In the past, the ancestors of the Li family had coincidentally obtained this dilapidated cave and used it as a foundation to build the kingdom of the underground black market. Unfortunately, this cave was too dilapidated and could not be moved. Moreover, this place had long been plundered. There were only some woods, rivers, and young beasts left. Thus, the Li family went all out and came up with a survival mode. The stakes of the bet scared off many people at the beginning. However, the returns were very high. Also, some heavenly treasures left behind by the predecessors were occasionally produced. They could also be sold to the underground black market to create value. In short, the Li family had used everything that they could in this heavenly abode. Every time 100 martial artists and 100 demonic beasts are released to fight, the reward for those who survive is doubled, and there is also a pension for those who die. Isn't this attracting their lives? Fang Yu was speechless. Wasn't it? He was also attracted. However, the Li family would not control such a big situation. The price was a bit high, and this was a gimmick. Although the survival mode was simple and difficult, many people supported it. It was hard to say whether it could compare to other businesses that made money every day. In any case, the Li family complemented each other and became bigger and bigger. "I'm an 8-star martial master now." Fang Yu felt the changes in his body, and his eyes blazed. An 8-star martial master meant that Fang Yu had killed more than 10 martial masters here, and they were not low-grade martial masters. For this, Fang Yu even exposed the cicada battlesuit. It could be said that without this item, Fang Yu might have died 3 times already. The survival mode plate was too big. The forces that the Li family invited to participate were not easy to deal with. They more or less sent their own people to interfere with the outcome. If not for the fact that Fang Yu was not an ordinary person, he would probably be dead already. Someone's here. Fang Yu suddenly became alert. Like a leopard ready to pounce, he aimed at the approaching figure below. "Little brother, don't be anxious. It's me." Seeing this, the person below hurriedly whispered. Chapter 37. Geezer Wang, it's you. Seeing who it was, Fang Yu felt relieved but helpless at the same time. Geezer Wang was an old man who seemed to be over 60 years old. His origin was unknown and his strength was average. At most, he was a 5-star martial master. Although a 5-star martial master's strength was not bad, in fact, it depended on his age. If it was a 10-year-old 5-star martial master, it would definitely be feared. However, a 5-star martial master who was over 60 years old could only be said to have average aptitude. However, Geezer Wang's strange thing was that he was very alert, as if he had gained experience. Nothing could be hidden from him. Every time before danger came, he would be the first to slip away. This made Fang Yu feel helpless. However, once when Fang Yu was in extreme danger, Geezer Wang jumped out and saved Fang Yu's life. Since then, Geezer Wang followed Fang Yu to eat and drink. "Do you still have that wine?" Geezer Wang asked with a smile. "How many bottles of wine do you have a day? Can you run away when the enemy comes?" Fang Yu rolled his eyes at Geezer Wang and threw a bottle of wine down. Speaking of which, these bottles of wine were not brought by Fang Yu. He found them from an unlucky guy he killed. It was free, so he gave it away. However, in this tense atmosphere, it was good to drink some wine occasionally to refresh oneself. After all, Fang Yu's enemies were not only martial artists, but also demon beasts. "Haha. Whether I can run away or not, you still don't know." Geezer Wang laughed and poured half a bottle of wine, saying, "The taste of this wine is too light. Something is wrong." Indeed, something is wrong. It was rare that Fang Yu did not object. He drank some of this wine and the taste was very light. It was not the flavor of their side. In my opinion, the 4 big schools' wine can barely be considered to be of good quality. Geezer Wang spoke with assurance. "For big schools' wine?" Fang Yu asked curiously. "Literally, each of the 4 great academies has a type of fine wine brewed by themselves. Azure Dragon Institute's Azure Dragon Drunk, Vermilion Bird Institute's Vermilion Bird Brew, Black Tortoise Institute's Black Tortoise Fragrance, White Tiger Institute's White Tiger Meow." Geezer Wang was a little dizzy as he said, "Azure Dragon Drunk. Just like its name, the dragon race will get drunk after drinking it." The taste was so strong that it left a lasting aftertaste. The Vermilion Bird Brew is terrifying. Just drinking a mouthful of it can cause one's internal organs to feel like they're on fire. Drinking a single pot can cause people to die from the pain. But if you can endure it, your internal organs, meridians will all be tempered. There are many benefits. The Black Tortoise fragrance is a fragrance that can't be described in words. It's addictive. As for White Tiger Meow, it gives off a very serene feeling, as if it has sunk into the sea. As he spoke, Geezer Wang couldn't help but lick his lips. I'm craving it. If you're so greedy, why don't you go drink? What are you doing here? Aren't you afraid of dying here?" Fang Yu asked, amused. Little did he know, Geezer Wang said seriously, "Drinking requires money. If I don't participate in the survival mode, where would I get the money to drink? To tell you the truth, after paying the registration fee, I don't have a single cent left." Fang Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Shoo, someone's coming." Geezer Wang suddenly became alert. Fang Yu had a tacit understanding. Just like his impression of Geezer Wang's ability was ordinary, but his alertness and escaping skills were first class. This was something that even Fang Yu had to admit. Now that Geezer Wang said someone was coming, it was probably true that someone was coming. Rustle, rustle, rustle. Sure enough, soon there was a sound of movement. Fang Yu looked over and said in astonishment, "How could it be her?" He saw that the one who was running for her life was Li Shuiying. How could she be here? Fang Yu was dumbfounded. Last time when Li Shuiying secretly went to participate in the battle royale, shouldn't she be locked up by Li Qiuhong? How could she appear here now? "Hee, you're still running? If you continue to run, when we catch you, we'll break your legs first." A burly man chuckled and said viciously as he chuckled, "Shin Tuju, are you really going to force me?" Li Shuiying stood still and said angrily. She was originally playful and joined the survival mode. As a result, she was targeted by a few barbarian warriors. Along the way, they constantly harassed and chased her, wanting to get close to her. Li Shuiying naturally refused. Thus, she was chased by them all the way until she couldn't run anymore. "Haha, as I said, if you accompany us, we'll let you go. We'll even guarantee your safety and let you stay until the end." Shin Tuju laughed and said, "You're just a small 3-star warrior, yet you dare to speak rudely to me. If my friends know about this, they'll definitely deal with you. Li Shuiying wasn't willing to be outdone. Then let your friends deal with me. I'm waiting. Shin Tu-ju wasn't afraid at all. You, Li Shuiying stuttered a few times and wanted to run away again. She wasn't even a martial master. If not for Shin Tu-ju's playful thoughts and the treasures she brought, she would have died long ago. Little girl, why are you still running? Be obedient and let me have some fun. Suddenly, a skinny man blocked Li Shuiying's path. At that moment, there were pursuers in front and wolves behind. She couldn't advance or retreat. Seeing this, Fang Yu sighed and was about to make a move. Hey, little brother, what are you doing? Geezer Wang quickly said, Don't tell me you're going to make a move? Don't. Why? Fang Yu asked doubtfully. Why can't you see that these are barbarian warriors? Geezer Wang said helplessly, In the underground black market, the barbarians have a certain status because their partners have a barbarian force. These barbarian warriors are probably here to cause trouble or fish in troubled waters. Anyway, they're not to be trifled with. The surname Shin Tu seems to be the surname of this black market force. We can't afford to offend them. Pausing, Geezer Wang said with lingering fear, So it's better not to be a hero saving a beauty. It's not good to lose your life. Fang Yu shook his head and said, I can't not save her. Why? Geezer Wang was puzzled. No matter how he looked at it, Fang Yu didn't look like someone who would be blinded by beauty. Because I'm the friend she was talking about, Fang Yu said speechlessly. Almost at the same time, Shin Tu-ju's hand reached towards Li Shuiying. His face was full of desire, as if he wanted to grab something delicious in his hand. However, behind her was Shin Tu-ju's partner. There was no way to retreat. Just as Li Shuiying's breathing became heavy and she clenched her teeth, preparing to fight with all her might, Shin Tu-ju's wrist fell off completely without any warning. My hand. Shin Tu-ju was stunned for a moment, then became miserable. Before Li Shuiying could realize what had happened, a familiar voice rang in her ears. Hey, your friend is here. Chapter 38. Fang Yu, it's you, is it really you? After Li Shuiying saw that it was Fang Yu, she was extremely excited. You actually appeared? Are you a martial emperor? Fang Yu did not know whether to laugh or cry. I'm not a martial emperor, but I'm Fang Yu. That's enough. That's right, becoming a martial emperor was only a matter of time. Brat, it was you who injured me. Shin Tu-ju was unable to restrain his anger, but he did not attack. This was because he had not seen clearly what had just happened. Just like that, his hand had been inexplicably cut off. Such a person was truly terrifying. But so what? When the people from our Shin Tu family clan arrive, it will be too late even if you want to beg for mercy. Shin Tu-ju thought fiercely. Phew! Fang Yu was a man of few words. He completely ignored Shin Tu-ju and slashed out with his saber again. You call for help. Shin Tu-ju hurriedly dodged and shouted at the skinny man. The Shin Tu family clan had brought quite a few people this time. They were all martial masters, so they could run amok. As long as they gathered together, even high-ranking martial masters would not be afraid. Fang Yu did not speak and continued to chase after Shin Tu-ju. Since the other party wanted to call for help, he would take the initiative and kill as many as he could. However, there were many trees and vines in the forest. Although Shin Tu-ju's body was huge, his movements were nimble as he constantly used the terrain for cover. Running for your life is quite good. Fang Yu laughed and said. Shin Tu-ju's expression did not change. He did not mind Fang Yu's ridicule. He did not care if he ran for his life or not. As long as he lived to the end, he would be the winner, the king. As for the rest, he did not need to think too much. Fang Yu naturally saw through the other party's thoughts. However, this dense forest was easy to defend and hard to attack, so he chose it as his hiding place. In the end, a fight broke out all of a sudden. Even Fang Yu was unable to display his full strength. As long as we take her down, we can delay until reinforcements arrive. After the skinny man crushed a jade talisman, he turned his eyes and stared at Li Shuiying. Li Shuiying was not even a martial master. If he wanted to catch her, it would be no different from catching a chicken. Previously, they had been playing cat and mouse. Just now, Li Shuiying had stumbled and fled here. Now, Fang Yu was chasing after Shin Tuju and had yet to succeed. Reinforcements were not far away. As long as they could take down Li Shuiying, they would basically be in an invincible position. Old Wang. Fang Yu seemed to have sensed something. When the skinny man made his move, he shouted out loudly, "Ioyo, these old bones of mine!" Geezer Wang's voice rang out. 5 cans. Fang Yu quoted his price without hesitation. 5 jars of wine. He himself only had 7 or 8 jars left. Spending 5 jars in one go to invite Geezer Wang was definitely a big deal. As Geezer Wang agreed, he appeared beside Li Shuiying and grinned. "Don't be afraid. With me, Geezer Wang, here, no one can hurt you. Old thing, go die." The skinny man did not put Geezer Wang in his eyes. On the path of cultivation, unless one had reached an extremely high level, not only would one's potential be exhausted when one was old, even the blood and qi in one's body would dry up, and they would not be as good as before. The fist feared the young and strong. This was the reason. Although he could see that Geezer Wang was a martial master over 60 years old could not be compared to a martial master in his 20s. Pai Li Pa La. Little did he know that the skinny man was beaten up by Geezer Wang just as the two of them started fighting, teaching him a lesson on the spot. "TSK. You really look down on me? Young man, you must be humble," Geezer Wang said unhurriedly. "Old grandpa, you're so powerful." Li Shuiying's eyes lit up. "Hee, it doesn't matter if I'm powerful or not. I like wine," Geezer Wang said slowly. "Wine? My family has collected a lot of sword qi wine. What do you think?" Li Shuiying rolled her eyes and said, "Sword qi wine? You have such things?" Geezer Wang was shocked. "Yes, but not too much. Less than 100 jars." Li Shuiying thought for a while and said, "Io, my god of wealth. Don't worry, as long as you give me a jar of sword qi wine, this old man will definitely protect you today." Geezer Wang patted his chest and said, how could he not see that Li Shuiying was hinting at him? Geezer Wang, did not like cultivation, nor did he like women. He only liked wine. If he had enough good wine, he would even try to kill a martial king. Good. The deal is successful. Li Shuiying clapped and said, "Humph, before we hand over the wine, whoever gets in my way will be my enemy." Geezer Wang said valiantly. "Oh, is that so? Geezer Wang, are you not even giving face to our Shin Tu family clan?" Suddenly, a cold male voice came out without warning. It's Shin Tu Quan?" Hearing this, the valiant Geezer Wang suddenly withered. "It's me." Someone came along with the voice. It was a man about the same size as Fang Yu. His face was cold and his aura was shocking. He was obviously a high-ranking martial master. "Why are you here too?" Geezer Wang said in surprise. "Our Shin Tu family clan has shares in the underground black market. Why can't I come? Instead, it's you. Are you going against our Shin Tu family clan?" Shin Tu Quan sneered. "Who is he?" Li Shuiying frowned. Although the Li family was the king of the underground black market, and was the controller of the underground black market, with the expansion of the scale, the composition of the underground black market had also become complicated. Although the Li family was still the main body, they had added in many other factions as accessories. Because of this, even if the Li family's martial spirit ancestor approved of her, She still had to make preparations to take over the underground black market and recruit her own people. Shin-Tu family clan. She had some impression of them, but she could not say for sure. This is one of the factions in the underground black market, the Shin-Tu family clan. They have the blood of the barbarian race. Not only do they develop on our side, they also have connections with the barbarian race. Many barbarian warriors were sent by them. They were their business enemies in the barbarian race. After capturing them, they were directly sent here. Geezer Wang was uneasy. Hee, didn't you say you would protect her? The thin man chuckled and teased. Geezer Wang was indecisive. He had been in the underground black market for many years, so how could he not know of the Shin-Tu family clan's reputation? If he offended the Shin-Tu family clan, he might not be able to bear the consequences. Don't be afraid. I have connections with the Li family. Li Shuang quickly said, I am familiar with the Li family's steward Qin. Steward Qin? Shin-Tu Quan was stunned. He knew of steward Qin. He was an unfathomable martial grand master. Brother, save me! Suddenly, Shin-Tu Ju's scream came from afar. Phew! The sound of wind breaking was heard and Shin-Tu Ju's scream came to a stop. Chapter 39. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing Shin-Tu Ju. 2,000 experience points gained. 2,000 experience points entered his account. Fang Yu's current experience points had reached 820,009,0000. He was not far from becoming a 9-star martial master. You killed my brother! Shin-Tu Quan was furious. Although Shin-Tu Ju was useless, he was still his brother from the same mother. Now that he had been killed, where was his face? What's the rush? You have to accompany him later. Fang Yu said lightly. Shin-Tu Quan was at most a 7-star martial master. Even if he was about to advance to 8-star, there was still a clear gap between them. Fang Yu was not afraid at all. Is that so? I never expected that there would be people who would not put our Shin-Tu family clan in their eyes. Shin-Tu Quan said coldly. The Shin-Tu family clan was not very big, but after operating in the underground black market for many years, they had more or less gained some status. This time, they had personally participated because the survival mode's outcome was very important to them. They never expected that in just 3 days, Shin-Tu Ju would die. I will ask Grandpa Chen to help cover up this matter. You can do as you wish. Li Shuang hurriedly said to Fang Yu. She was afraid that Fang Yu would be convinced. Fang Yu's expression did not change. Shin-Tu Quan and the Shin-Tu family clan were not to be trifled with. Besides, the barbarians were brave and ruthless. After killing Shin-Tu Ju today, there was no turning back. Besides, Fang Yu also did not need any turning back. How many people do you have left? All of you can stay. Fang Yu said seriously. Really? Do you think that our Shin-Tu family clan only has so few people? I'm not afraid to tell you that the Tao family is also our ally. Shin-Tu Quan said proudly. The Tao family is one of the local tyrants. The Shin-Tu family clan is not the only barbarian faction. We can be said to be of the same breath and branch. If you really offend us, you will offend a large group of people. Where there were people, there was the underworld. In Jianghu, one had no choice. Take Geezer Wang for example. He had been in the underground black market for a long time. He wasn't afraid of anything. But if he wanted to stay in the underground black market, he couldn't afford to offend these people. Don't worry, I'm here. Li Shuang said again. Who do you think you are? Even if Steward Chen can really control us, there are so many people. Isn't there a saying that the law cannot punish the majority? Shin-Tu Quan smiled proudly. That's right, they had joined the underground black market for many years and had become one of the accessories. There was no problem in hastily disposing of an accessory. However, if he were to dispose of all these parts in one go, it would be a huge problem. I'm still not afraid. Putting aside the fact that Big Sister wanted to establish her might, who knows what happened when they died here? Li Shuiying hesitated for a while before saying decisively, even I do not know. This Shen Tu family clan is probably not that big. Besides, he said that there are other barbarian factions that have entered or want to enter. Without them, our underground black market can still operate. Once she said this, Shen Tu Quan's expression changed. That's right, their Shen Tu family clan was not that big. Or it could be said that they did not dare to place all their chips in the underground black market. Hence, with the situation of splitting into two, there were not many people here. And just as Li Shuiying said, Li Qiuhong needed people to establish her might. One Shen Tu family clan, the other Tao family clan, they had come at the right time. Ha ha! Fang Yu laughed and raised his saber as he approached. Kill! Shen Tu Quan took a deep breath and directly engaged in close combat with Fang Yu. Go and kill this old man and this woman. Yes, big brother. The few people from the Shen Tu family clan who had rushed over immediately surrounded Geezer Wang and Li Shuiying. 5 vats of sword energy wine. Li Shuiying said her price without hesitation. 5 vats. Whoever hurts this Geezer Wang's sugar daddy will die here. Geezer Wang's eyes flashed as he roared. I'm really giving you face. The people from the Shen Tu family clan did not put Geezer Wang in their eyes. How could an old martial master go against so many of them? You have to protect me, Li Shuiying said while trembling with fear. Although Geezer Wang had claimed that he would protect her, Geezer Wang was still alone. The people in front of him were like wolves and tigers. As long as there is enough wine, I, Geezer Wang, can show off my skills. Finishing his words, Geezer Wang took a deep breath and instantly became huge, as if he was being inflated. You are from the giant race? The people from the Shen Tu family clan were stunned. Geezer Wang was now as big as a small mountain. His bulging muscles were enough to scare them to death. Purring! Pung! Purring! Geezer Wang did not give them a chance to react. He punched one kid each. Immediately, their heads exploded like watermelons. Red and white matter covered the ground. Killing martial masters was like killing chickens and dogs. On the other side, the smell of blood spread. Shen Tu Quan's body also trembled. Their people were killed in seconds? Impossible. No matter how weak these people were, they were still the main members of the Shen Tu family clan. They were all martial masters in their prime. It was impossible for them to be killed in seconds by an old ghost. Looks like your Shen Tu family clan is also very ordinary. You can't even beat an old man who is over 60 years old. Fang Yu sighed as his dragon teeth blade slashed towards his opponent's face. Phew! 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 Fang Yu's blade was very fast. Each slash cut through the wind. Shen Tu Quan could only retreat. However, Fang Yu felt that something was wrong. There was something that he had overlooked. Clang! The next moment, Shen Tu Quan's short blade was unsheathed. This was a very well-hidden blade. It was neither big nor small. It was suitable for close combat. Also, when it was designed, the lines of the blade catered to the air, allowing it to be faster. Fang Yu finally understood where his senses were coming from. However, his opponent had revealed his dagger. This also meant that he did not have any other tricks up his sleeve. Fang Yu did not retreat. Instead, he advanced. He allowed his opponent's short blade to stab him. He waved the dragon teeth blade with one hand and swept it across Shen Tu Quan's neck. Shwa! With a slash of the blade, Shen Tu Quan could only watch as his head was separated from his body. As for his short blade, it was only 3 inches away from Fang Yu's chest. He never expected that Fang Yu would dare to risk his life like this. He would end his life with a single slash. For something like a blade, the longer it is, the stronger it is. The shorter it is, the more dangerous it is, Fang Yu said with a chuckle. Although the short blade was suitable for assassination, Shentu Quan's actions were too abnormal. He did not seem like a barbarian warrior who only had muscles. Instead, it made Fang Yu vigilant. He was always on guard against his opponent's move. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing the 7-star martial master Shentu Quan. Received 8,000 experience. Ding! Congratulations to the host for advancing to a 9-star martial master. Current experience 9000-010-0000. Finally, he was only one step away from becoming a martial grand master. Chapter 40. When Fang Yu had just been reborn, a martial grandmaster was an existence that he could only look up to. Now, he was only one step away from the highest combat power in Skylight City. Although no one knew how far that step was, Fang Yu, who had the super slaughter system, knew that it was only 10,000 experience points. Fang Yu squinted his eyes and found something on Shentu Quan's corpse. Parchment. Fang Yu picked it up curiously and opened it. He was stunned. Saber technique? It's saber technique. Geezer Wang, who had arrived at some point, nodded. When did you arrive? Fang Yu was shocked. He did not notice Geezer Wang approaching him. That's not important. Geezer Wang waved his hand and said, TSK, the Sky Sun Saber Saint's saber technique? It looks like only the first few moves, but some of them are already in the black level. Kid, you've struck gold. Sky Sun Saber Saint? He's a martial saint? Fang Yu asked doubtfully. Not necessarily. Speaking of which, the Sky Sun Saber Saint is a mysterious figure. Some say that he has already become a martial saint, while others say that he did not become a martial saint, but a saber saint. Geezer Wang pondered for a while and said, Is there any difference? Li Shuiying walked over. There is. A martial saint is second only to a martial emperor. It's not easy to become a martial saint. However, before reaching the martial sage realm, if one's saber Dao reaches the martial sage realm, one will have the power to fight against a true martial sage. Once such an existence steps into the martial sage realm in the future, this is the so-called dual sage talent. As he spoke, Geezer Wang could not help but reveal a yearning look. Dual saint talent. Such a person could fight a martial emperor at the peak of the martial saint realm. Once he became a martial emperor, he would be invincible and would be the best among his peers. What happened after that? Li Shuiying could not help but ask. After that, the Sky Sun Saber Saint disappeared without a trace. Some said that he was in a life and death seclusion in an attempt to reach a higher level. In the end, he failed and turned into ashes. Old Wang shook his head and replied, True or false, no one knows. In any case, the Heavenly Sun Saber Saint's saber techniques were gradually spread out at that time. In the blink of an eye, the Heavenly Sun martial saint's moves were also continuously broken down. Of the Heavenly Sun 9 sabers, you obtained the first 4 sabers. I see. Fang Yu looked at the Sword Saint's remnant scroll in his hand, deep in thought. If what Geezer Wang said was true, then he had really profited. No matter what, a person who could be called a saint, his martial arts and cultivation methods would definitely not be weak. By the way, Geezer Wang, what happened to you just now? How could it become so huge, like a little giant? Li Shuiying said with great interest. This is one of my minor cultivation methods. It's called the Demon Cultivation Method. Legend has it that there is a race called the Demon Man. They can change their size. Geezer Wang said with a grin. Demon Man race? Does it have anything to do with the demon race? Li Shuiying was shocked. The demon race was a race that ate raw meat and drank blood. In the myriad spirit continent, everyone was afraid of them. Because legend had it that next to the myriad spirit continent was the demon realm. Because of the space node, there would occasionally be real demon race appearing, causing panic. All in all, anything that was related to the demon race would cause people to be extremely fearful. There is a relationship. However, just like how there are good and bad people, not all of the demon race ate raw meat and drank blood. Some of them, for some reason, wandered to the myriad spirit continent. You know, there are many races in the myriad spirit continent. Some can accept the demon race, and then the demon race intermarried with them. After many years, there was one more demon man race. As for whether the demon man race is good or bad, you can tell by looking at the name. Half of them are demons, half of them are humans. They have reproduced for thousands of years, and their human nature is stronger than their demonic nature. Geezer Wang said with a smile. The cultivation technique, demon man art, was spread out by them taking the initiative to express goodwill and communicate with each other. This cultivation technique is a bit unorthodox, and not everyone can cultivate it. It has a very high requirement for one's physique, and I happen to meet the requirements. After many years of bitter cultivation, I have some result. Geezer Wang said it very modestly, but Fang Yu did not believe it. He dared to say that if he was unprepared, he might not be able to defeat Geezer Wang. Even if he had the dragon teeth blade and the 10,000 beasts emperor fist, he still couldn't withstand the other party's hammer to the head. That's right, you promised me before. Geezer Wang was bashful, like a shy little girl, making Fang Yu feel a chill. Yours. Fang Yu casually threw out a few jars of wine. Io. This little old man relies on these things to prolong his life. Geezer Wang received it with a smile. I'll give it to you after we get out. Li Shuiying said. I understand. Things like sword qi wine should be stored in a wine cellar. What you said are jars of wine, and it's even more impossible to carry them with you. Geezer Wang rubbed his hands together to show that he understood. The three of them were not in a hurry to leave. In fact, Fang Yu was originally waiting at ease for the exhausted, waiting for the hare to come. Only half of the 7 days of survival mode had passed, and there were still 3.5 days left. If they were to risk their lives now, how would they survive in the future? Heavenly Sun Blade Technique. First style, Heavenly Sun Rises. Fang Yu read the sheepskin scroll with great interest. The dragon teeth blade was a good blade, but it was a pity that he did not have a suitable blade technique. This time, he obtained the Blade Saint's Remnant Scroll, which made up for his shortcomings in this aspect. Heavenly Sun Rises. This is a continuous move, one blade after another, like the rising sun rising from the east, constantly rising. Strike after the enemy strikes. This is the second style of Heavenly Sun 9 Blades. Shintu Quan used this move to deal with me, but his comprehension was limited, and he could not comprehend the profoundness of this move. He was too obsessed with the surface, and appeared to be too deliberate. Instead, he could not achieve the effect of striking after the enemy strikes. Fang Yu read as he comprehended. The dragon teeth blade was already a divine weapon, and without a corresponding blade technique, it could not display its full strength. Although it was only the Blade Saint's Remnant Scroll, the Heavenly Sun Blade Saint had his own understanding of the way of the blade, and he could simplify the complex, which made Fang Yu amazed. A blade is a blade. As for the moves, any blade technique that can kill the opponent, regardless of whether it is of the yellow grade or not, is a powerful blade technique. Fang Yu seemed to have understood something. He had just killed Shintu Quan with an ordinary blade. Was this blade weak? No, it was definitely not weak to kill Shintu Quan at a critical moment. Was it strong? No, it did not even have a grade, so how could it be considered strong? But this blade was still profound. Therefore, there was a distinction between up and down, but there was also no distinction between up and down. Just as Fang Yu finished thinking about all this, The system's notification sounded in his mind. Chapter 41. Ding. Congratulations to the host for comprehending the way of the saber +1. Current comprehension, 1/100. Fang Yu was stunned for a moment. What does this mean? What will happen when it reaches 100? Once the comprehension of the way of the saber increases from 1 to 100, it is what people call the way of the saber saint. The system replied. It can't be? The way of the saber saint can be played like this? Fang Yu was shocked. Although he already knew that the super slaughter system had many mysteries, he never thought that it would be this amazing. According to Geezer Wang, it was much more difficult to reach the way of the saber saint before becoming a martial saint than becoming a martial saint. Once one became a martial saint before becoming a martial saint, one would have the talent of 2 martial saints. This kind of person would be outstanding among those of the same level. After becoming a peak martial saint, one could even try to arm wrestle with a martial emperor. What an awesome existence! Now that it told Fang Yu that it could be played like this, how could Fang Yu not be surprised and happy? Fang Yu did not say anything and continued to try to comprehend the way of the saber. However, what made Fang Yu constipated was that no matter how unconstrained he was for half an hour, he still did not gain anything. Could it be that the way I opened it is wrong? Fang Yu anxiously scratched his head. Young man, what are you doing? I saw you scratching your head for half an hour already. Geezer Wang drank wine and asked drunkenly. Geezer Wang, if the way of the saber saint is the first step, how should the remaining 99 steps be taken? Fang Yu asked straightforwardly. Geezer Wang was stunned for a moment and then laughed loudly. Ha ha! You little brat, are you trying to make me laugh to death? Geezer Wang pointed at Fang Yu and laughed. Let's not talk about the halfway point. For any path, as long as you have some talent and a bit of hard work, it is easy to take 1 step or 10 steps. It is not as complicated as you think. But for the remaining 10 steps, or even 1 or 2 steps, most people in the world will not be able to take it even if they use their entire life's effort. Is this the meaning of the saber like heaven's will? Fang Yu muttered to himself. That's right. It's just like the private school exams. Scoring 10 to 20, or even 70 to 80 isn't a big deal. There are people like that every year. Those who score 90 are a little rare, but they're still not that rare. What's really rare are those who can get full mark. The so-called saints of all kinds are people who get full mark. Geezer Wang chuckled and said, You have some talent, kid, but among the people I've seen, you're not too outstanding. Even in the Skylight City area, your strength is probably already at the top. What? Fang Yu's expression changed. What old Wang meant was that Fang Yu had already stepped into the 9-star martial master realm. Excluding the martial spirit ancestor of the Li family from the underground black market, a 9-star martial master was considered one of the top in Skylight City, where martial grandmasters were capped. Not to mention that Fang Yu was so young. What did it mean to be a 9-star martial master in his teens? I'm saying that you've become a martial master at such a young age, and it looks like you're a high-level martial master, and you're so generous, you'll definitely have a bright future. Geezer Wang patted Fang Yu's shoulder as he drank. Fang Yu secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Geezer Wang was saying that he was generous. That was true. His expectations for Geezer Wang were a little too high. Geezer Wang, is there anything dangerous or fun in this place? Li Shuang came up and asked. Hey, I haven't talked about you yet. Do your sister and Grandpa Chen know that you've come out? Fang Yu interrupted and asked. This, do they know? Li Shuang played dumb. You don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you're from the Li family. Now that the underground black market is full of snakes and dragons, so what if you're from the Li family? Even if they're afraid of your family's elders, it doesn't mean that they won't dare to do anything to you. After all, if you die in this place, no one will know if you're killed or eaten by a monster. Even if they find out, once the evidence points to you being killed, they can just grab someone else to take the blame and you'll die in vain. Fang Yu sighed. Humph. Don't I have you? Li Shuiying panicked in her heart, but her expression didn't change. You have me? Hee, this time I came in time, or I just happened to be nearby. What if I wasn't here? Wouldn't you be defiled by the Shin Tu family clan? Don't think that the barbarian warriors will reason with you. Fang Yu rolled his eyes and said. Actually, Li Shuiying was really afraid now. But she couldn't say it out loud. Otherwise, Fang Yu would continue to lecture her. She rolled her eyes and said, Then I'll hire Geezer Wang to protect me. If I encounter any danger, help me solve it. My family doesn't just have sword energy wine. Do you know Yen Hui wine? My family has it too. Seeing this, Geezer Wang quickly tried to curry favor. Hey. Geezer Wang's financial backer naturally has to be foolproof. I know Yen Hui wine. It's a very rare wine. The taste is very special. I drank a bowl 10 years ago. It's amazing. How much do you have, miss? I don't know how much, but I'll start with a pot. Li Shuiying glanced at Fang Yu and said. She could see that the wine Fang Yu gave Geezer Wang was quite ordinary, but it was enough to make Geezer Wang go through fire and water. The wine she gave was worth more, so why would she be afraid that Geezer Wang wouldn't comply? It's really good. Geezer Wang licked his lips and said, However, if you want to talk about what's the most dangerous and fun here, it's definitely the one and only 9th level monster beast. 9th level monster beast? Fang Yu and Li Shuiying were shocked. A 9th level monster beast, according to the classification, was it in existence at the martial soul level? No way. There was such an existence here. It's impossible. How could there be a 9th level monster beast here? Li Shuiying expressed that she didn't believe it. Grandpa Chen never said anything about this. If there really was a 9th level monster beast, how could he let it go? Fang Yu held the same opinion. A 9th level monster beast was simply a martial soul, okay? In contrast, a great martial master was not enough to fill the gap between its teeth. Why not? This 9th level monster beast was left behind when this place was broken. At that time, it was probably just a cub. Its strength was not as strong as imagined. It was probably at the level of a martial master. But humans have geniuses, so do monsters. This monster beast's talent is extremely terrifying, and it probably got some inheritance here. In a few hundred years, it has advanced by leaps and bounds. It will soon become a monster king. Geezer Wang said with spittle flying, For this kind of existence, even if a peak martial soul came, it would be suicide. What's more, they may not necessarily find this 9th level monster beast. It's just a vague feeling, so they can't be completely sure. Therefore, this matter has always been kept a secret. After all, the survival mode relies on this broken and immobile grotto heaven. If there is a problem, the income will definitely be reduced. Therefore, who would go out of their way to seek confirmation? Who would be asking for trouble? Chapter 42. Hearing this, Fang Yu secretly nodded his head, indicating that he agreed. That's right, this place was definitely one of the main sources of income for the underground black market. If there was a problem, it could be big or small. Furthermore, even if they confirmed that there was a level 9 monster here, what could they do? If they invited the Li family's martial spirit old ancestor, wouldn't they just be delivering food? In a situation where they couldn't solve it, if it was Fang Yu, he would probably turn a blind eye and earn money first. How do you know about this level 9 monster? Li Shuiying suspiciously asked. It can't be that everyone doesn't know about it, only you, Old Wang, know about it. To this, Old Wang laughed. Miss, what kind of person am I, old Wang? If I don't have a diamond, don't take on porcelain work. Since I can mix in here for so many years, I must have some unknown method. That makes sense. Old Wang, why don't you join us? We have enough wine. Li Shuiying gave birth to the idea of recruiting him. Old Wang looked mysterious, but in reality, he was unfathomable. Fang Yu was already an incredible young genius, but when Fang Yu faced Geezer Wang, he had a kind of faintly discernible fear. Clearly, Fang Yu thought that Geezer Wang could pose a threat to him. Otherwise, why would he be wary of old Wang? Forget about this. Old Wang straightforwardly waved his hand. I like to be free and unfettered. Occasionally we can cooperate and take on a few missions, but working for a power all year round is not something I'm used to. Seeing this, Li Shuiying could only give up. She couldn't forcefully capture old Wang, right? Ding. System mission. Obtain the blood of a level 9 monster. Fang Yu was shocked by the sudden mission. Obtain the blood of a level 9 monster? What the hell is this? A level 9 monster is the standard of a peak martial spirit. What's the difference between this and asking him to die? Hey. Are you kidding me? A level 9 monster. It can kill me with a breath, Fang Yu quickly said. However, the super slaughter system did not have any reaction. Fang Yu's face suddenly turned ugly. As for what the super slaughter system was, he had more or less figured it out. Although it was a high-risk, high-reward mission, whatever mission it wanted to issue depended entirely on its mood. Once it was released, it wouldn't care if there was a flood. We can only make a trip there? Fang Yu asked and answered his own questions. In fact, he had already made up his mind. Humans would die for wealth, and birds would die for food. The rewards that the super slaughter system gave were enough to cause an influence to seethe with excitement and go crazy. Fang Yu was no exception. Where is this Class 9 monster beast? Fang Yu asked. What? Are you interested? Geezer Wang glanced at Fang Yu and said, I want to take a look. Fang Yu took a deep breath and said, The presence of this beast is a great threat to us. We can't ignore it, That's true. But you're too lazy right now. Otherwise, you wouldn't be lying in ambush here. Now that you suddenly want to take a look, is there some unspeakable secret? Geezer Wang smiled slyly and said. Fang Yu felt an inexplicable sense of guilt, but he maintained a calm expression. To tell you the truth, I'm also working for her family now. With your eyesight, you should be able to tell that she has an extraordinary background, right? Geezer Wang nodded slightly. No matter if it was sword chi or swallow return, these two types of wine were expensive. Many forces bought them as collectibles, or when an important guest came, they would take them out to entertain them. Li Shuiying directly treated it as spirit stones and spent it. Wasn't she born in a rich family? I'm responsible for my position. I took their money, so naturally I have to help them. After I confirm this matter, I will carefully report it. After all, it's a hidden danger, so we have to guard against it. Fang Yu said with a straight face. This, Li Shuiying was moved by Fang Yu's words. Fang Yu, you have such deep feelings for our family? No, that's not right. You're not an ordinary young man. How can you be so loyal to our Li family? It's impossible. No matter what, my elder sister is betting on your potential. Grandpa Chen thinks the same way as well. Li Shuiying shook her head and said, I understand. You must have taken a fancy to us sisters. Wouldn't the Li family be your home in the future when you have so many women in your arms? That's why you're racking your brains for the benefit of our Li family. What are you thinking about every day in that little head of yours? Fang Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He didn't deny that these two sisters with different personalities really gave people a good impression. The wealth of the Li family was also tempting. However, Fang Yu's ambition didn't lie here. Martial Grandmaster and martial spirit were only paths he had to take. His goal was to become a martial saint and martial emperor. Only then could he break through the void and return for revenge. But what you said really makes sense. Grandpa Chern and the others don't care about it, because they can't find this level 9 demonic beast. If we confirm its situation and report it, we can come up with a solution no matter what. We won't do nothing. Li Shuiying stopped laughing and said. She looked weird, but in fact she was pure and intelligent. Her intelligence, strategy, and even the cultivation of heavenly talismans were not inferior to her sister Li Qiuhong. It was just that her personality was too jumpy and couldn't sit still. She wasn't a good candidate to be the leader of the Li family. But this time, they didn't take a look and Li Shuiying slipped in. Add a pot of yen hui. Okay. Let's go. Geezer Wang bowed down for a pot of yen hui. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. In these 3 days, they surprisingly didn't encounter any danger because the path Geezer Wang took was very remote and led to the edge of this dilapidated heavenly abode. So it's in this kind of place. No wonder it wasn't discovered. Fang Yu was suddenly enlightened. This kind of edge was already very dilapidated. If they accidentally fell in, they would probably turn into ashes in an instant. Even martial grandmasters didn't dare to wander around the edge of this area. So the level 9 demonic beast's hiding place was in this kind of place. No wonder it wasn't discovered. Speaking of which, Geezer Wang, how did you find this place? The situation isn't right. Li Shuiying was full of doubts and couldn't help but ask. Miss, this is our secret. Add another pot of yen hui. Since we're already here, just say it. Okay, the situation is like this. No matter what the result is in the survival mode, there will be a big reward if you survive. We don't want to fight to the death, but if we want the reward, we have to find a hidden place and sleep for a few days until the end of the competition. Make a long story short. To make a long story short, many places have been discovered. Helpless, we can only come to these dangerous places to try our luck. Coincidentally, we found the lair of a level 9 demonic beast. Chapter 43. There's such a thing? Li Shuiying expressed her surprise. I really can't say whether it's good luck or bad luck, because there were people who were swallowed by this demon beast, but it seemed to have reached a critical moment and did not make a big fuss. Old Wang curled his lips and said, Critical moment? Could it be a transformation? Promoted to Demon King. Li Shuiying's face changed. Demon King, this is an existence comparable to Martial King. This kind of creature is enough to destroy the underground black market. That's not necessarily true. Different demon beasts have different difficulties in transformation. Anyway, transformation is not that simple. Old Wang waved his hand and said with certainty. After saying that, Old Wang glanced at Fang Yu and said, What's the matter? Is there a flower on this old man's face? No, I just feel that Old Wang knows a lot. Fang Yu said with deep meaning. Hee, as the saying goes, having an old man in the family is like having a treasure. Old Wang's ability is not that good, but I have lived for a long time. People, as long as they live for a long time, they will naturally have a lot of anecdotes. Old Wang chuckled and said. Fang Yu really could not find any fault with his answer, but he felt that Old Wang was not as simple as he looked. We're almost there, be careful. Don't wake it up, I don't want to die here. Old Wang suddenly lowered his voice and said. Fang Yu and Li Shuiying held their breath and followed Old Wang to the edge. When they looked down, their faces changed. They saw that the edge of the area was in a state of chaos. Even if a stone fell down, it would be instantly crushed. However, in such a dangerous and unpredictable place, there was an obvious nest. It was as if a cave was opened out of thin air. Inside, there was an extremely dangerous aura emitting out. This is a level 9 demon beast's nest? Li Shuiying was so scared that she was sweating profusely. The existence inside was too terrifying. She was at least 100 feet away from it, but she still could not help but tremble. So scary. Fang Yu was stunned. Such an existence, if they wanted to take its blood, wouldn't it be like sending food? Is there really no error in the super slaughter system? Fang Yu was confused. Let's go, Geezer Wang urged. It's probably sleeping, let's hurry up and leave. Fang Yu and the others hurriedly retreated. How is it? Do you believe me now? Geezer Wang said casually. Yes. Fang Yu and Li Shuiying nodded. Although he hadn't seen the true face of the 9th-grade demonic beast, but this kind of terrifying aura couldn't be wrong, it was definitely a 9th-grade demonic beast without a doubt. Survival mode, making a lot of money every day. Although the danger of a level 9 demonic beast is great, before it really erupts, the underground black market will probably still be able to muddle through and earn money every day. Geezer Wang leisurely said, There's still one more day before the survival mode ends. I don't think the two of you are here to make money. Otherwise, you wouldn't have followed me for a few days without any complaints, just to take a look at the lair of a level 9 monster beast. So, let's find a place to rest and wait for the end. Yes. In this regard, Fang Yu and Li Shuiying didn't have any opinion. Yes, you said it's in a critical period. Could it be? Fang Yu suddenly asked. Yes, it's been sleeping a lot recently. Survival mode, the normal 3 days, the difficult 7 days, will be held once. No matter what mode it is, it will be followed by a 5-day break. We have some companions who share information with us. No matter what, those who participate in the survival mode are not completely weak. However, the consumption of the participants in the survival mode is very huge. Even the underground black market can't continuously replenish the strong. Therefore, the underground black market just turns a blind eye to us. We're just here to make up the numbers. Anyway, as we've seen, the legendary demonic beasts are real. In this case, it's not worthwhile for the underground black market to continue to spend effort on the survival mode. Miss, you come from a noble family. You should know that the underground black market is deliberately looking for a way to replace the survival mode, right? It's just that the process is not very smooth. Geezer Wang smiled and asked Li Shuiying. Yes, I've heard a little about this. Li Shuiying nodded. She didn't hide anything and was very open. So, most of our companions come here to hide most of the time. Some of them are unlucky and get eaten. This kind of news can't be completely covered up. The underground black market also received some rumors, but no one came to check or confirm. In other words, this matter continues to be hidden in the clouds. It's better to be vague and vague. It's just that they seized the time to find a way to replace the survival mode, which has already explained a lot. Geezer Wang continued. I thought I could make a contribution, but I didn't expect to fall short. Fang Yu spread out his hands and teased. That won't happen. The news still needs to be confirmed, but there are too many eyes and ears. It's not suitable for our Li family to come forward. Other forces are just accessories, they are all secondary. It's even more impossible for them to contribute. In short, we unintentionally planted a willow, and it's a great contribution. Li Shuiying patted her chest and said. Fang Yu smiled but didn't say anything. That's right. It's fine if Fang Yu didn't contribute, but if Li Shuiying didn't contribute, would she agree? Sure enough, it's easier to get things done with people in the court. There was still half a day left. After half a day, the surviving warriors would be the winners of this survival mode. They would get at least 10,000 spiritual stones. 10,000 spiritual stones didn't seem like a lot. At least in the underground black market, 10,000 spiritual stones in 7 days was quite ordinary. However, it was safe. As long as they could hide, they could rest for 5 days and be as happy as gods. Fang Yu was also flipping through the 4-blade techniques on the parchment. The 9 blades of Heavenly Sun was very mysterious and made him drunk. Although Fang Yu didn't think of using experience to increase the comprehension of martial arts, it was a shortcut. However, after talking with the super slaughter system, he gave up on that idea. First of all, the experience needed to increase the level of spiritual martial arts was astronomical. Fang Yu was about to break through to the martial Grand Master realm. He didn't want to go back to square one. Secondly, the super slaughter system said that this method wouldn't give him any comprehension of the Blade Dao. Fang Yu felt that he had some talent in the Blade Dao. The road ahead would be much easier. There was no need to waste such a good opportunity. Blade Dao Comprehension +1. Blade Dao Comprehension +1. Blade Dao Comprehension +1. Fang Yu felt that his talent was not a boast, but because he had been recognized by the super slaughter system. He had seriously studied it, and no matter how you looked at it, he had gained a few insights. In the past few days, Fang Yu's Blade Dao comprehension had reached a shocking 17 points. Although everyone knew that it was easy at first, Fang Yu did have some talent in the Blade Dao. This was an undeniable fact. Rumble. At this moment, a shocking sound rang out without any warning. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.